have a lot of depressing information to work with.
Well, we look for sadness indicators, positive versus negative adjectives and status updates, whether you've liked a corporate entity such as Walmart or Arby's.
One of LifePoint's most buzzed about features is the Life Compare function, which lets you see how your mistakes stack up to others.
Here, I'm overlaying my graph with a graph of a childhood friend. You can see his life ended up much worse than mine, which is great.
Anything with a profile has a LifePoint, so you can look forward to finding out when your favorite bands, TV shows, and companies started going downhill.
This is the Onion News Network. Free Talk Live.
It is Free Talk Live, the live Saturday edition of the program. As always, you're invited to join us here. The toll-free number for you, 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. And you can bring up anything that you want. That is the point here of this radio program. And we are live on this Saturday edition with you tonight. It's Ian.
And Captain Kickass.
Coming up, Captain, you've got a story about a town that has, or the population of a town that has apparently disbanded its government
They
gang.
said, you're out.
I'm interested to hear about that, but also we'll start the show tonight with freedom of expression, something that we value highly here on Free Talk Live. I mean, it's kind of in the name of the show. You know, we're live, and you're free to talk about anything that you want. That's the point here. Unfortunately, around the world, according to a new report from a UK-based charity named Article 19, which is named for one of the clauses of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, freedom of expression has reached a 10-year low globally.
Globally? Wow. Interesting.
As a result of what the report calls digital authoritarianism and threats against journalists, governments in a number of countries have been increasing online surveillance and cracking down on content and behavior that indicates dissent, says the report.
Well, we've seen a bunch of examples of that, just even with the topics on the show that we cover every day, right?
Like what?
Where like reporters are like, either suppressed or, afraid to otherwise report, genuine news. What was the lady who had all the Epstein stuff that she was trying to get published, and, it was 3 years before it actually happened, whatever.
ABC report, wasn't it? It was ABC. Yeah. Where she had done a deep, investigation into Epstein, and
she had
all the dirt. And they sidelined her. They said, no.
They were like, no, we're not going to run that. And then 3 years later it comes out, and then there's a recording of her going, I had all of this. I had it all, and I tried to get them to publish it. But they were like, no.
And then when that recording got leaked out, they fired the person who was not the lady that was on the video, but the one behind the scenes that she was talking to, the producer.
The one who leaked it.
Yeah. And so she got canned. And no, she didn't get canned from ABC. The detail was ABC actually got in touch with her current employer, which was like NBC or CBS
one of the other
or something.
Networks, right?
And they said, "Yeah, you need to fire this woman."
Yeah,
and they did. Which
not
was
even the same network, and they were like, "Oh, sure, we'll do it."
Yeah, just doing the bidding of their supposed competitor,
right?
Which is really strange, and it does, kind of gives you the indication that maybe all these major media companies really are part of some sort of conspiracy.
I mean,
together.
If I went to work at McDonald's and left or got fired and then went to work at Burger King, and then McDonald's called up Burger King and said, hey, that guy, I don't know, he dropped burgers in the fryer or something, whatever it was. Do you think they'd fire me because Burger King called him up? I don't think so.
Well, I mean, even in that case, you're not dealing with something that ultimately is key to being a good journalist, right? Like, I mean, in the case of what we're talking about with ABC and CBS, the woman who released that tape, she was doing good journalism. Like, she was doing good work. She was revealing something about their competition.
Yep.
That should have been revealed, and you can't really compare that to what's going on with somebody flipping burgers. I mean, this is an important event that this woman was involved in. If it were my company, I'd have given her an award and made sure that it was promoted. The fact that, well, Ms. whatever her name was, I don't even know what her name was.
Yeah.
The story about it was just reported as though this woman was fired. It didn't even talk about her name.
She should have got like a journalistic integrity award or something.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah, but then we go back to necessity being the mother of invention, right? So, if we're talking about how sort of freedom of speech is oppressed, well, WikiLeaks was invented, right? So
That's
that
right.
people could anonymously, release things and have things made public.
And what's happened to Julian Assange?
Yeah, all of that. I mean, that's very indicative of the fact that we are losing more and more of these quote rights unquote every day.
That's a great point. You can join us here if you want to discuss this study. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. Again, saying that a 10-year low as far as freedom of expression around the planet. So we're just talking about the ones that we're aware of from here in the United States. I mean, the U.S. government wants to prosecute Julian Assange for treason or something like that, even though he's not a U.S. citizen. And from what I can tell, hasn't ever set foot inside the United States.
I didn't know that.
He's from Australia. I mean,
figured he might have paid a visit at
maybe
one
he
point.
came to a conference or something like that, but I mean, he doesn't live here. So let's go to the phones here to somebody that knows a thing or two about free speech. Dave in Colorado. I suspect this is Dave Ridley from RidleyReport.com. Dave?
Yeah, I have a wildly different subject to talk about, and that is Elaine Brown.
Can you explain for our audience who Elaine Brown is?
She is or was a tax protester. She and her husband led an 8-month-long standoff against the Fed in New Hampshire, in Plainfield near Lebanon, which would be considered, I guess, northwestern New Hampshire or central western New Hampshire. And they were thrown in jail after they were caught, in 2007. Finally, the Feds raided their house, caught them, threw them away, and gave them these huge sentences, like 40 years each or something like that, even though they were both elderly at the time and would die in jail under that sentence.
Yeah, they must have been in their, at the earliest, they must have been in their late 60s at the time. I don't know how old for sure they were, but they were not spring chickens.
So basically a death sentence at that point?
Pretty much, yeah, for just, not paying federal income tax.
So it was of the federal variety?
Mm-hmm.
I was going to ask what flavor, but you've answered my question. Thanks.
So what's the latest, Dave, on Elaine Brown? Because I know you'd called recently within the last few weeks saying that maybe Elaine and her husband Ed, who are both rotting away in federal prison, may have their sentences reduced.
Yeah, I think I called about that around a year ago. And one of their supporters, I don't know, supporter might not be the right word. You'd have to ask him, but someone who's followed the situation and knows them and likes them, his name is Keith Champagne. I met him. He came to New Hampshire a few times during this when this was an issue, and he says yes, they may be out actually by the end of the year.
Really?
I'm pretty sure you called about this within the last couple months because there was news in late October about this, where the U.S. attorney in New Hampshire, due to I guess some sort of I forget what it was, like a court case. I've got the article that I pulled up here. But anyway, yeah, there was news within the last couple of months about them. I'm pretty sure you brought it to our attention. But either way, that's great news. Now, is it just going to affect Elaine, or is it the both of them?
Well, I'll just quote what he said. I'll quote his 2 sentences here. Quote, "The Browns and their supporters, Danny and Jason, should hopefully be home by the end of December if all goes well.
Wow.
These are the entries from their docket. Elaine will be shipped up here for a resentencing around December 19th, unless she waives her right. Not sure if that will be in Maine or NH, since it is still being handled by Judge Single," unquote.
Well, that's great news. So it does sound like, and not only does it sound like Ed and Elaine Brown are going to be resentenced, but it sounds like they're also going to be resentencing a couple of the associates who were kind of on the property and associated with Ed and Elaine. They weren't their, family or anything like that, just supporters.
And I'm sorry, was that Judge Tingle?
Single, I think it's how it's
Oh,
pronounced.
sorry.
I may have said it wrong.
I was going to make fun of his name.
You can anyway if you want. Thanks, Dave, for bringing that up. Anything else you want to share tonight?
That's all I know.
What do you have as far as thoughts on freedom of expression being at a 10-year low globally? I mean, you're a YouTube guy. You've got a pretty active channel at RidleyReport.com.
I'm not sure. Lately I've been following a lot of the futurist dialogue, among transhumanists and people like that, and started to find those people to be kind of interesting. And like Ray Kurzweil, for instance, he tends to generally think things are getting better, and Pinkerton, the guy who tracks violence, keeps driving home the point that the violence rates over the long haul keep going down in the world. I tend to bias in favor of it if things are getting better. But I don't know about with freedom of the press. It's hard to say. My own experience. You want to believe what you see, not what you hear. And my own experience is generally, I feel no more restricted than I did 10 years ago. In fact, maybe a little bit less, just because cops used to freak out about cameras 10 years ago, and now I just had an interaction. You'll see on the Ridley Report within the next few weeks. But I had an interaction with a cop.
Check him out over at RidleyReport.com. There's more coming up here. Free Talk Live. Have you heard of LibertyCon? LibertyCon is not only a convention with great speakers like Whole Foods CEO and co-founder John Mackey and Nobel Prize winner Vernon Smith, but it's also unique because you get a chance to network with more than 70 pro-liberty organizations, one-on-one for the purpose of career advancement, business, and internship opportunities. April 3rd through 5th in Washington, D.C. You can learn more by visiting LibertyCon.com and use code FTL for a $10 discount on your registration. That's LibertyCon.com. Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. local.bitcoin.com.
Do you like going to your job every day? Can you set your own schedule and take long vacations whenever you want? Are you free to do whatever you want in your dating or sex life? I'm Caleb Jones, and I've taught hundreds of thousands of men how to create low-work, high-income businesses and how to date women under your terms. Come to our free webinar with a live Q&A with me so you can learn how to create location-independent income and date women the way you want. Go to alpha.freetalklive.com.
Free Talk Live is now on more than 200 radio stations nationwide. We've had more than 18 million podcast downloads, and we claim millions of listens a month. We're a multimedia ad venue with print, email, web, and terrestrial radio marketing platforms. We strive to have ad packages that cater to advertisers big and small. Contact me today at mark@freetalklive.com to see what we can do for you. mark@freetalklive.com. If you're a local advertiser, contact this station. But if you can service a national audience, contact me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Hey guys, Mark Claire here, lionsofliberty.com, where we strive to advance the ideas of liberty daily. We bring you the Morning Roar. That's right, every Monday to Friday we'll have a brand new edition of the Morning Roar, where we provide a roundup of some news stories that you may not find in the mainstream media or even in your typical social media newsfeed. We find stories that relate to the ideas of liberty and provide you with our liberty perspective on them. Every Monday, we have our longest-running feature, Mondays with Murray, named after the great libertarian Murray Rothbard, where we'll examine an article or an excerpt from his works and help convey his view, along with our little spin as well. We wrap it all up every Friday with Felony Friday, where our own John Odermatt goes out and takes a look at some sort of felony. There's felonies committed every day, whether it's a felony committed by the police, a politician, or even an average citizen. You can find all of this and so much more over at lionsofliberty.com. Advancing the ideas of liberty daily.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You're invited to join us on the radio The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. And with you tonight here, it's Ian.
And Captain Kickass.
Are you sick and tired of Washington politicians? Absolutely.
I mean, yes.
But further, having those scumbags making decisions about you and your family's health care. Now, they claimed Obamacare was going to help with affordable health care with a choice, and didn't work out that way, did it? Turned into high-priced insurance with little choice. The team at BetterPlans.net believed there was a better way to do health insurance, and they figured out how. You can call them at 800-714-1802 to get a fast and free quote. You can get affordable health care plans that cost hundreds of dollars less per month, but the first step is to become aware of how the wool has been pulled over your eyes. You can download their free ebook, Dirty Little Secrets, at betterplans.net. They've got sample pricing for their plans that are every bit as good as the major providers for as little as $145 a month for a single, and even greater savings for families and businesses. You can get access to educational videos and a free quote, plus your ebook that's free as well. It's called Dirty Little Secrets at betterplans.net. And Obamacare's enrollment deadline is December 15th, so don't wait. Go to betterplans.net or call them at 800-714-1802.
Sounds like a good thing for... I have a number of acquaintances that are, we'll say, small business people, independent, that they are their own business, that kind of a thing. And I imagine that would be something that they would have interest in.
Sounds that way. All right, so you can bring up anything you want. We started out the show here tonight with news about an UK charity that has released a report looking at freedom of expression. They say that it is at a 10-year low, and they are saying the reason for this is what they are calling digital authoritarianism. Now, you came up with a couple of examples of this. The crackdown against Julian Assange, for instance, is one of them. That's the founder of WikiLeaks. Governments in a number of countries have been increasing online surveillance, this according to the report at CJR.org, and cracking down on content and behavior that indicates dissent, says the report. The survey notes that while there were some improvements in the overall freedom of expression environment around the world between 2008 and 2013, these gains were eroded in the 5 subsequent years. According to their analysis, more than 65 countries with a combined population of over 5 billion people have seen their freedom of expression decline over the past decade. So we just had Dave Ridley on from Ridley Report, and he says he feels like he's more free now to say the things that he has wanted to say. However, and I didn't call him on this, I didn't think about it until just now, but I recall Dave calling this show earlier this year complaining because he's been demonetized on YouTube.
Well, the first thing that popped into my head as you were reading the article statement there was just the word deplatforming.
Right.
Right? Just the fact that is a thing. Right, that somebody can, go on, insert video or audio platform here, YouTube, etc., and so on. Just the fact that somebody can, open up a channel, begin broadcasting, and then, them go, nope, sorry, we don't like what you do. You're out.
Well, in his case, what he called to complain about wasn't being deplatformed fully, but being kind of like shadow banned almost, where the Ridley Report channel's still there. You can still subscribe to it. But he says that he doesn't get, even though he's got more subscribers now than previous, he doesn't get as many views on his videos.
Well, and I'm certain not as much revenue from those views as well.
Well, there's the revenue cuts as well. And that's been happening for the last couple of years where I've seen various different... I've seen people who aren't even... they're not like freedom activists or anything like that. They just have like a YouTube channel. There's one guy who, his name is MXR. He's just a, like a gamer geek.
Yep.
He plays video games. He does reviews of Fallout 4 mods and things like that. And some of the mods that he'll review are a little racy. Maybe they're like topless women or whatever, but he puts blurs over them. And so like there's some violence, there's some sex content on the channel.
Right.
And they cut his monetization heavily to where he went on and said he can't make a living at this anymore, basically. And he still wants to do his program for his fans.
Right.
He's got hundreds of thousands of subscribers. And so what used to get his bills paid no longer was doing that.
Right, and we see that with a whole bunch of people just across the board, not necessarily just, activists of different flavors and varieties.
Anything that's not family friendly is being demonetized. And look, it's YouTube's right to do that.
Absolutely.
They have a private platform. you're using it. You're not paying to use it. So.
But let's be fair. It's not YouTube anymore. It's Google, right?
Well, that's the same company.
Right, but YouTube, before Google acquired YouTube was a whole different animal.
Sure.
And as soon as Google acquired YouTube, that's when we began to see all of this sort of
it took a while.
Well, okay, but that's when it started happening.
That's what happened.
So the YouTube channel philosophy was a far cry different from what Google's is. So the only advice I have to people who maybe are doing that is diversify. Get your stuff on all of the other platforms that are now coming up, Twitch and DLive.
But none of those are.
DLive
is Twitch and DLive are live streaming content platforms. True. They're not for storing videos. Right. They don't act in that way. We stream on both of those platforms, DLive, Twitch, and also YouTube. So we're actually on all three right now. We can live stream to YouTube, and then after that, it archives that show until somebody at YouTube decides to pull the plug.
Right.
But with Twitch and DLive, which are primarily like game streaming video platforms, they're great for streaming video live, but they only hold on to archives for like a couple of weeks after
the really?
fact. Yeah, so you can't use those in the same way.
Because I've watched a few Free Talk Live episodes archived on DLive, but I guess
you must have watched them within the last
Yeah.
week or two since they were produced. So they're not really viable candidates. And that's what I was going to say. You know, Dave Ridley had called to talk about how he has tried to do what you're talking about, which is to say put his content on other platforms. And he was bemoaning that MetaCafe, which is, I guess, one of the few remaining competitors to YouTube that's still out there.
Is Vimeo still around?
Yeah, Vimeo's still out there. But that's more for, like, filmmakers or whatever.
Yeah.
MetaCafe is one of the free platforms, but he wasn't too happy or keen on them. And, of course, then you've got the decentralized options, which are like Library, LBRY.com.
Yep.
I got to say, that I think has the most promise. I think it's the best platform because it's free to use and they can't tell you no. The Library cannot block you. They cannot come in there and stop you from uploading to that platform. There's nothing they can do. Their hands are off. It's a decentralized blockchain, cryptocurrency-based platform, and we are backed up. Wait, are we? Yeah. Free Talk Live's MP3 archives, I believe, are backed up.
To Library?
On Library.
Nice.
Yeah. Free Keen, which is my YouTube channel, is also backed up automatically on Library. So I still upload to YouTube because, I've got 18,000 subscribers there or whatever.
Right.
That's not a ton of subscribers, but it's, not bad. It's not terrible. And, obviously if those people are there, I still want to bring content to them, but you never know what somebody's going to get a hair up their butt about and report to YouTube, and then before you know it, a video's gone.
Right.
So I think that there's definitely some serious issues here, and a lot of this deplatforming has been within the last few years. So that's why this study here is saying there were some gains in freedom up till from 2008 to 2013, but then we lost those gains. So
2 steps forward, 1 step back?
Right. Or maybe one step forward, 2 steps back in this case.
I'm not a dancer, obviously.
The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. What has happened to you as far as freedom of speech, freedom of expression is concerned? And it doesn't have to be digital. If you want to comment, you're welcome to join us here. It's Free Talk Live.
Gold has definitely been on the move recently, and there is no more secure investment. Many ICA has been helping people take delivery of precious metals and find storage options for decades. They've helped thousands of investors with their precious metal IRAs. Call ICA today for your free portfolio review at 800-525-9556 or download their free report online at ICAGoldSilver.com to learn how you can double your gold and silver ounces even within an IRA. 800-525-9556. ICAGoldSilver.com.
The next generation wallet is coming from Divvy. In just a few taps, you'll be able to send, earn, spend, and exchange digital money in seconds. Send money around the globe with only a swipe. Instantly exchange between Divvy, Bitcoin, and fiat right in the mobile app and withdraw directly to your bank account. Divvy already offers the first one-tap solution for earning passive income with crypto. Multi-tiered masternodes allow everyone to partake in the network. Visit DivvyProject.org. DivvyProject.org.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me like, do this right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it. And once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world. So I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here. And I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, connect with others via the forum at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live, you dial toll free. If you want to join us on the radio, our number is 855-450-FREE like freedom, 855-450-3733. We have the Discord call-in line rooms at discord.lrn.fm. And you still have some semblance of free expression, at least here on this program.
Well, okay.
Although there have been times where Free Talk Live has lost radio affiliates simply because of the opinions expressed on the air on this program.
Well, and let's not forget the FCC restrictions.
Well, there are those. I mean, those have been around forever. But we're talking about, in this case, this report from Article 19. It's a UK charity looking at the global freedom of expression content or quotient or whatever score, saying that it's lower now than it has been in the past decade. That is to say, there's less freedom of expression. We've had experiences with this. I mean, I've definitely seen some videos demonetized on YouTube, on the Free Keen YouTube channel. That's definitely happened. We've definitely been taken off the air on a few different stations over the last decade or so. Mm-hmm. And, it's not a bunch of them. The majority of our stations are, good with us, and they get that Free Talk Live can be a controversial show, but thankfully good talk radio stations aren't afraid of controversy. They embrace controversy.
Yeah.
And so, we do that here because it is an open phone show, and yes, we care about freedom, and that's not a very popular position these days. But
and I feel like newspapers, have kind of, not only have they been sort of destroyed by things like Craigslist, who took over their entire. I mean, most newspapers' cash cow was the classifieds. And so when Craigslist came along, newspapers had to sort of reinvent themselves to stay relevant.
They're not so good at that, though.
They've
just been going out of business.
And so I feel like the newspaper companies have, become more tabloidish or sensationalist and less about journalistic integrity than, say, talk radio.
By the way, I want to invite you over to local.bitcoin.com. If you're new to cryptocurrency, if you're new to Bitcoin, get over to just plain old bitcoin.com and start learning about it. But when you're ready to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash, local.bitcoin.com has launched a global trading platform that actually respects your privacy because there's no identification requirements in order to sign up for and use the site. Plus, communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. So it's a pretty slick site. I've used it. I think I've got like 25 or 30 sales under my belt. Our co-host Aria on Monday nights is the top seller on the entire site. So if you want to buy some Bitcoin Cash, use Aria. She's pretty reliable. The people that have sales under their belt are safer to go with because you are dealing on an anonymous site, so you have to keep in mind there is some risk involved, especially if you're a seller. Some of the payment methods are particularly high risk, so you do want to keep in mind and do a little due diligence and find out what's the lower risk payment methods versus the high risk if you're going to be a seller. Buyers, you're generally more safe, especially if you're buying from somebody with a reputation. So check it out over at local.bitcoin.com. Buy or sell Bitcoin Cash at local.bitcoin.com. So we're talking about the sort of global crackdown, a reduction in freedom of speech, freedom of expression. A report by a group called Article 19 took a look at this, saying it's at the lowest point it's been in 10 years. The report, according to CJR.org, looks at what it argues are 5 key metrics of freedom of expression. Okay. 1, civic space, which looks at indicators related to the ability of individuals and civil society organizations to associate and be active. So real life meet space, kind of getting together, having a group protest or standing out with a bullhorn and speaking on a street corner, that kind of thing, getting out there physically and expressing yourself. 2, digital, which measures online censorship and freedom of online discussion, covering internet shutdowns by governments, censorship of social media, and online content moderation. And we've definitely seen a reduction in freedom of speech in those areas.
I feel like it.
In the areas where people have been relying on centralized platforms, we talked about YouTube. We talked about Google taking over YouTube. We haven't even touched on Facebook, which is this monstrosity that has just subsumed so many people's time. I was teasing and giving a little feedback to one of our co-hosts recently. Said, well, whenever I come over to your house, you're always on Facebook.
I mean, I still have
time.
one. It's facebook.com/the Reverend Captain Kickass.
Mm-hmm.
But
is this a page or a
it's
profile?
It's a person profile. In fact, Facebook tried to shut me down for not using my authentic name, quote unquote, and I had to do battle with Facebook to get them to turn my account back on with the same name. I have several. Back in the day, the internet, the first rule of the internet was don't put your real stuff out on the internet, right?
Yeah, that's gone away.
So I didn't, and that's, Captain Kickass is a pseudonym, obviously, right? And I had been using that in bands and on other forums and stuff, and, it stuck, right? And so, MySpace came along, and it was Captain Kickass, and then Facebook came along, and I couldn't do Captain Kickass. They wouldn't allow that for some reason, so I had to be L Captain Kickass, EL. And another friend of mine also had to be like L something or another, L Sid or something. Like he had to, because it wouldn't let him just be one name, right? Because he was a mononym, right?
Yeah.
And that kind of. So anyway, I got caught up when Facebook cracked down on Native Americans, the Oglala Sioux, right, out of South Dakota. They have.
What did they
names
do to
like,
the Native Americans?
They have names that translate into English like Bill Two Bowls. Right? You know what I mean? So, Facebook developed this algorithm that said, oh, well, these aren't real names, right? So, they shut off a whole bunch of Native American accounts.
Wow.
They shut off a whole bunch of, cross-dressers, right? Particularly performers, right?
Okay.
The cross-dressing performers who go by...
RuPaul?
Yeah, that type of a thing, right? You know what I mean? They have all these crazy performer names, right, that aren't real names, you know what I mean? But
those are their names.
And
That's
they
what
had
they
tons
use.
of friends and follow, you know what I mean? Like these are human beings with people who are either following them for entertainment purposes purposes, or are their actual friends, right? But they shut them down. So I got wrapped up in all that stuff.
I remember that. They wanted, there was a big crackdown on some of the libertarians who had added the word voluntarist or voluntarist as their middle names. So it might have been like Adam Voluntarist Kokesh.
Right.
And then they came in and sent them a notice saying, well, we don't think this is your real name, and we're going to need to see your government ID in order to verify that it is your real name. And if you don't provide that, we're going to force you to close your account or something like that.
Now, if you read their terminology very closely, it never said we must see government ID. It just said we must see identification, recommended forms of identification like a driver's license, a passport, something issued by your government, you know, that kind of a thing. And so I ended up, I won't go into all the details. I ended up doing basically an email campaign to all of their executives.
Really?
Where, like, I created fake Facebook pages out of their executives' first and last names and then messaged them with those accounts.
Their own name.
Because they're shutting down accounts when you didn't need to produce any ID to open an account.
Yeah.
Right? So I just opened accounts with their executives' names and then started messaging those exact executives from those accounts and saying, hey, here's my case number that's open with you guys. You guys shut my account down. People think I'm dead, right? I was getting phone calls from, hey, I can't get you on Facebook. Are you okay? You know, kind of a thing, because people used that, or at the time anyway, it was big. So anyway, I ended up producing ID from like some backstage passes. I did some like production work, you know, in Seattle in the music industry where like Captain Kickass was my name on the actual IDs and all that kind of stuff. And then, of course, I'm a reverend, or Captain Kickass is a reverend of the Church of Spiritual Humanism.
Oh, really?
And I have the certificate for it. And so I, of course, you know, scanned that in. I scanned all this stuff in. And eventually they were tired of hearing me because I was hitting them up every day, going, hey, this is what I've done. This is the thing. You still haven't turned my account on. Every day I'm emailing, I'm pinging, I'm Facebook messaging. You know, finally, I think they just got sick of me and they like turned my account back on.
Well, that's a lot of effort to go through to save a Facebook account.
It's still on, and so now I feel invested now, right? As much as I hate kind of what Facebook has become, I still have I don't know, I think 1,000 people or something on my Facebook account, and most of them are either.
What do they call that? Sunken cost fallacy. Now that you put all the time and effort into it, you want to keep it?
Most of them are, you know, fellow musicians or folks who have followed me through the music industry, or other like lovers of freedom, you know, that I've met, that I've not met in person, but, you know, are voluntarists or individualists.
We got more coming up here, talking about freedom of expression and the reduction in the freedom of expression to its lowest point in a decade, according to an analysis by UK charity Article 19. More coming up. If you want to comment, what have you seen? 855-450-FREE. This is Free Talk Live.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Sling bow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of sling bow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
How would you like to hit the range tomorrow with a brand new gun? Because the United States Concealed Carry Association wants to give you a free gun right now. That's right, completely free. The USCCA is here to give every responsibly armed American the education, training, legal, and financial protection they need. And today, they're giving you not one, but 4 free chances to win $1,000. Simply text GCN to 87222 to get entered now, and you'll get 4 free chances to win $1,000 for any gun you want. Text GCN to 87222 and get entered today. But remember, these free guns won't be around forever, and you can't win if you don't enter. So don't miss out. Just text GCN to 87222 and get your 4 free chances to win now. That's GCN to 87222.
Most of you know that heart disease is the #1 silent killer in the U.S. What if I told you for just $54.95 a month you could fight against heart disease naturally? At Heart and Body Extract, we've been helping thousands of people get back to a healthier heart. Don't just take my word for it. Check out all of the success stories at hbextract.com, or to order, call 866-295-5305. That's 866-295-5305. hbextract.com. Don't risk it when you can take charge of it.
If you're looking for work, the person you are applying to is probably so swamped with applicants that he or she is tough to reach. So call early in the day, before 8 a.m., before the palace guards arrive. You'll need your prospect's direct number, and here's a sneaky way to get it. Suppose the company's main number is 555-5000. You should call 555-5012. When someone says, "Good morning, Pam Johnson," you should innocently say, "Oops, somebody here must have written this down wrong. I was calling for Tom Frederick. What's his direct number?" If the very next thing you hear isn't Pam giving you Tom's number, it may be, "Good morning, Tom Frederick." For more tips for job seekers and getting better results in all your day-to-day communication, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount.
Now you can follow LRN.FM on the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You can dial toll-free and bring up whatever you want. Our toll-free number for you, 855-450-FREE like freedom. Freedom! That's 855-450-3733. Plus, want to say thanks to Travis, who is a Free Talk Live Gold Amplifier. That means Travis is supporting Free Talk Live's AMP program. It stands for Advertise, Market, and Promote. He's doing $10 a month, which is twice as much as what we ask for. We ask for $5, so thank you, Travis, for that. And thank you to everybody that amps Free Talk Live. You can join the club, if you will, over at amp.freetalklive.com. It is a small club, an elite club. Like maybe 195 listeners in the AMP program. Sure would appreciate hitting 200, so if you can help us with that, get on over to amp.freetalklive.com. You can sign up there with PayPal, credit card, or Bitcoin BTC. You will get some cool perks as a result of being an amplifier, like access to the Discord supporters chat rooms. There's an AMP-only Facebook group for those of you who just can't get out of Facebook. It's actually one of the better reasons. This is one of the reasons I stayed on Facebook for a while was, I got an AMP group. I got to be in there. Eventually, I was just like, you know what? Screw it. So if you want to reach me, you can find me on the Discord server. But go to amp.freetalklive.com. You get some cool bennies, and it'll help us get on more radio stations around the country, and we appreciate it. Please go to amp.freetalklive.com. So
I just wanted to finish up on the social media thing.
Yeah.
I have been able to sort of stop wasting so much time on Facebook. But mostly what's happened is I've decentralized my time wasting because of like Discord.
Discord is fun.
It's so much fun, man.
You can join our Discord server anytime you want. It's there 24/7 over at discord.lrn.fm. It's not like Facebook at all. It's instantaneous chat client. It's a chat protocol, if you will. There's different rooms, different subjects that you can discuss. There's a cryptocurrency room. There's a room about New Hampshire and the kind of the cool activism movement here. There's an on-air now room, which is where people tend to hang out during the show.
And there's this great thing in there that you do, amongst other folks. You throw around some crypto tips.
The tip bot, yeah.
That's so awesome,
That's so fun. That's been a nice addition to the server. So yeah, if you're just hanging out in the server, there's a good chance somebody's going to tip you for it, which is pretty cool. Especially if you like do something cool or post something entertaining or whatever. Or if you're just there, sometimes you just get it. Sometimes I'll do a random tip out, or I'll tip out to everybody that's been active, like in the last 10 minutes, over at discord.lrn.fm. So yeah, you've got, relative freedom of expression here on Free Talk Live. There are certain words you can't say due to the FCC, and there are, certain topics where we can't get particularly explicit, like you can't talk about sex in an explicit manner. You can't talk about excretory functions in an explicit manner, which, by the way, I do have a story about Donald Trump talking about flushing toilets coming up here. If we get a chance, we'll get to that. It's pretty entertaining.
Presidential flush.
But again, those aren't things that have changed in recent years. I mean, the FCC rules against obscenity, so-called obscenity, and so-called indecency have been around for decades. So that hasn't really changed. But what Article 19, which is a UK charity, their analysis of the global situation when it comes to freedom of expression, they looked at a few different areas. 5 key metrics. So we were going through what these were. Civic space, the physical reality of being able to go protest or speak out in public. 2, digital space, and talking about the censorship on social media, YouTube, crackdowns, deplatforming. 3, media, which measures factors such as government censorship and self-censorship, laws that limit online expression, etc. 4, protection, which measures threats to the safety of journalists and other communicators and human rights defenders, including murders and imprisonment, meaning journalists being murdered. As well as judicial harassment. And we've certainly seen in recent years, you brought up Julian Assange as an example of a person who is in the media, somebody who arguably is a journalist. I mean, at least
probably more of a journalist than
a lot of
journalists
people. Yeah.
are.
I mean, he's putting the dirt out there, and that's important, valuable work. And as a result, he's been targeted. He's now sitting in a jail cell in the UK, awaiting potential extradition to the United States, where he may be facing the death penalty for treason, which is just absolutely insane. But it's not just happening to him. There are others who are in the media here in the U.S. who've been targeted. Barrett Brown comes to mind, the man who was a journalist who went to prison for several years.
Chelsea Manning,
not so much a journalist, but a leaker, and led to some journalism. Edward Snowden.
Yep.
These are people that were key sources for journalists, and a lot of journalists turned these guys down because they didn't want to rock the boat.
Right.
They didn't want to have the government possibly targeting them, and so
and then look at what the news outlets say or said about those folks when they hit their sort of peak news cycle.
They weren't all kind to them.
No, they were
true.
like, "Oh, this guy's a traitor." He's and all this kind of like stuff. When actually he's doing you more of a service. He or they are doing you more of a service than the rest of the journalists.
But it's fine if somebody has an opinion, right? That's just them having an opinion about these people, and that's valid. And they're not obligated to cover his story, and they're not obligated to be positive towards it. But of those journalists who otherwise would have covered that story, but didn't because they were afraid of what might happen to them, because they were afraid of losing their connections, or they were afraid of actually being put in jail, that is a chilling effect on freedom of speech.
Well, and how many of them were told not to run the story
by their editors, like with the Epstein situation? So number 5, so this is the 5th of the 5 key metrics: transparency, which looks at whether laws are transparent and enforced in a predictable manner, and whether there are effective oversight bodies, impartial public administration, and so on.
What is a transparent law?
I don't know. I find laws to be
that terminology.
So obtuse. I find them to be. I'm not a stupid person, but I feel dumb when I read laws. I feel like I just can't get through it. That I cannot comprehend what they are saying. And there's a reason for that. They write it in a foreign language. It's called legalese. They use English words, but they redefine the words. And they can redefine the words within the statute itself. So not only is there a legal definition for a word like person, this is a good example, where the word person can actually mean a corporation. I mean, that alone just seems bizarre to me. But then if they want to redefine person, like if there's a particular statute that has been written in whatever state or federal we're talking about. I guess states have statutes, federal has code. Anyway, it's just all legalese for their rules that they force down your throat. They can then have a definition section in which they then take the word person and go ahead and define it differently than it's used in other sections of the law. So if you're not constantly like rechecking and checking the definitions of the statute you're reading, even if you're reading it and thinking you understand it, you may not actually understand it because you don't know what the definitions of the words are that they're using. It's just the most
it is bizarre and
frustrating thing.
It's worse than reading a EULA for like software, the user license agreement.
Yeah.
Like at least the EULA, if you read it, you can understand it. It's long and it's boring,
awful.
But the legalese is just that's something that was described to me. I can't remember by who. It's called the second set of books, right?
Yeah.
So like there's the overt books, right? The law books that you can go and see, but then there's this whole procedural part of the legal system, right? I think Mark Stevens refers to it as legal land, right?
Well, the whole legal system he calls legal land.
Right. But underneath, the rest of the laws is this whole procedural bit where there's a second set of law books involved. That's the rules on how that stuff works out. And that's where you start getting into all of this like redefining of the terminology that you think means one thing, but really doesn't, because once you're inside of the legal system, it is like Alice in Wonderland, man.
Yeah. And except without the fun. It's just awful.
Yeah.
Without the drugs. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. The story at cjr.org, looking at this report on global freedom of expression at its lowest point. They say legal threats to freedom of expression continue in a number of countries. Quote, from broad and ambiguous national security laws to laws that unduly limit online expression. China, anyone? I just saw a story tonight that I threw in show prep that the Chinese government has fined a video game program, manufacturer or whatever company, 7 times the amount of the revenue that they received from the game they published. The reason why? They didn't get a license in China. So apparently that's a thing in China where if you want to release a game, you have to go and get a license from the government first. So I presume that means the government's going to audit the code or look at the game and, approve or disapprove or whatever. And they didn't do that, so they've been publicly flogged by the Chinese government, and they're going to have to pay up.
Here's your scarlet letter.
Yeah. So going on here, from broad and ambiguous national security to laws limiting online expression, as well as new frameworks that delegate blocking and removal to online platforms, which often do so without transparency or accountability. That last comment is clearly directed at Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, which have been under fire for some time for their poorly communicated and often haphazard attempts to block hate speech and other bad behavior. According to Article 19, media freedom and digital free expression, quote, are both lower than they were a decade ago in every region of the world except for the Middle East and North Africa.
Huh.
The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. That's like the last place you would expect to not have a decline in those areas, but it is what it is. There's more coming up. You can join us. Free Talk Live.
Ever wanted to hook up with an attractive woman, but you couldn't because you were already in a relationship? Ever wanted to earn high income on low work hours? I'm Caleb Jones, and I've taught hundreds of thousands of men how to create low work, high income businesses and how to date women under your terms. Come to our free webinar with a live Q&A with me so you can learn how to create location independent income and date women the way you want. Go to alpha.freetalklive.com.
Business owners, you want more customers? Accept cryptocurrencies. There's people all around you just waiting to spend money at your store. If only you would take it. I know, you've been waiting till someone else makes it easy. Well, good news. HelpMeTakeBitcoin.com adds Bitcoin to your point of sale. Totally free. Use the same equipment you already have, now with Bitcoin. And unlike credit cards, there's no fees. Let the guys at HelpMeTakeBitcoin.com bring new customers to your store. HelpMeTakeBitcoin.com.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up in any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for Liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,460, silver at $16.58, and Bitcoin is trading around $7,523. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at innoscale.net. In the news, an active-duty U.S. Marine was arrested for attempting to smuggle guns and ammunition into Haiti in order to train soldiers for an apparent military coup in hopes of eventually becoming president. According to federal prosecutors, Jacques-Yves Sebastien Duraceau, a military firearms instructor with the U.S. Marines, admitted to smuggling the guns into Haiti in order to, quote, teach marksmanship to the Haitian army, end quote, in order to, quote, defeat the thugs, end quote. An informant told investigators that his plans for the weapons were far more ambitious, saying that Duraceau was going to attempt to take control of the country and become president himself. The Mind Unleashed reports the informant, who was not identified in court documents, appears to be an accomplice who turned on Duraceau when the pair were caught flying into Haiti last month. Investigators say the informant was traveling with Duraceau and the weapons at the time of the arrest. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals. High-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven and believes so strongly in the power of kratom, they're giving it away for free. Just go to freeounceofkratom.com for a free ounce of kratom delivered to your door. Just pay shipping. That's freeounceofkratom.com. This is the latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Find us online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. Your news now continues. Homeless residents in Winnipeg are facing potentially months in the freezing cold after police in the capital of Canada's Manitoba province tore down a number of donated warming huts. The huts, which were built by students at Stonewall Collegiate and installed by Community Patrol Group, the Urban Knights, and Ladies Peace Patrol, were meant to offer much-needed shelter to unhoused veterans and other people experiencing homelessness in the area. Alina Beta, vice president of the community group, said the local organizers are crestfallen over the dismantling of the project. City officials accuse the groups of building the shelters on city property without seeking clearance or even notifying the city about the humanitarian project. Police claim they had no luck attempting to reach the community groups, whom they accuse of ignoring city regulations regarding water, sewers, and tiny homes. The Saudi student who shot and killed 3 people at a U.S. Naval base in Florida hosted a dinner party the night before the attack where he and others watched videos of mass shootings, according to the Associated Press, citing a U.S. official. One of the 3 students at the dinner recorded the shooting outside the building at Naval Air Station Pensacola on Friday. According to the report, 2 other Saudi students watched from a car. 6 Saudi nationals were taken into custody for questioning near the Florida Naval Base, where an Air Force trainee, also from Saudi Arabia, opened fire Friday morning, killing 3 before a sheriff's deputy shot and killed him. According to the New York Times, 3 of the Saudis were filming the attack. It's unknown whether they were students at the base or whether they are connected to the gunman. The shooting spanned 2 floors in a classroom, according to Sheriff David Morgan. 2 deputies were shot in the ensuing gun battle and are expected to recover. The gunman used a locally bought Glock 45 9mm handgun with an extended magazine and was carrying between 4 and 6 more magazines. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
The Onion looks back at this week in history. On May 6, 1937, the explosion of the German passenger ship Hindenburg brought cheer to an entire generation of Americans in the midst of the Great Depression. The souls of the American people were fleetingly revitalized by the flame-engulfed Zeppelin and the shrill screams of burning passengers leaping to their heartwarming deaths.
Oh my, it's burst into flames! The burning embers and charred flesh are cascading splendidly onto the mooring mast. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the most terrific thing I've ever seen! Oh, the luminosity, the gaiety!
And on May 7th, 2000, Vladimir Putin became president of Russia after promising citizens he could bend anything they gave him with just his bare hands. And that was what happened this week in history. In the words of the Italian philosopher Niccolò Machiavelli, whoever wants to foresee the future must first look at the past and then imagine all that old stuff looking more future-y and space-like.
Free Talk Live.
Hey, it's Free Talk Live. We're launching into the second hour of the live Saturday edition of the program. As always, you're invited to join us here. Coming up, Trump comments on America's toilets. Yes, that's right. And you know what? I think it's actually kind of a smart thing for him to do. We can get into that coming up here. Plus, I know, Captain Kickass, you had a story about... let's see, what were we going to talk about that you had? The
citizens literally disband town.
Oh, that's right.
To get relief from oppressive taxes. They told the government to GTFO.
I want to hear more about that. Coming up, of course, your calls and thoughts are welcome. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. We've been talking about something that is near and dear to our hearts here on Free Talk Live, the freedom of expression. It's one of the things that really sets the United States apart from a lot of the countries around the world is the purported freedom of expression here, and it's not as good as people think that it is.
I'm a huge freedom of speech guy, and what I tell people is this. Freedom of speech is important, not because you get to say whatever it is your opinion is, but because it allows you to maintain some semblance of knowledge of where all the a-holes are. Mm-hmm. Right? Because
they're free to be a-holes.
They're free to say a-hole things. They're, free to publish a-hole, whatever you know where they're at because they are allowed to do these things. And I will defend their right to do all of that so that I can keep an eye on where these bastards are.
Good to know.
If you don't do that, then it all goes underground.
That's right. They still stay a-holes.
Yeah. You just lose your ability to know who they are and where they are.
They're secret a-holes at that point. And you don't know which businesses they're running. You don't know if they're working for you. You don't know any of those things.
Right.
So the story here is from CJR.org. They're doing a report, and this is Columbia Journalism Review is what that stands for. They're doing a report from Article 19, which is the name of a UK-based charity that has looked at global freedom of expression, saying that right now, it is at its lowest point that it's been in a decade. And they say that it's actually the scores for media freedom and digital free expression are lower than they were a decade ago in every region of the world except Middle East and Africa, which we found surprising. And I think you said off the air, well, maybe they're just so low, the scores in the Middle East and North Africa.
Somebody's got to be at the bottom, right?
That they can't go any lower, essentially. But going on here, the report says the group has also seen an increase in government gangs using digital technology to surveil their citizens, restrict content, and shut down communications. And we've seen that in places like Hong Kong, the Egyptian Spring or whatever it was, Arab Spring.
Yeah, the internet switch.
Where they just turned off internet access to people. And we've seen, some interesting solutions that the market has come up with to kind of work around these frustrations, like communications programs that are for a phone that do not rely on the internet to communicate, but instead rely on short-range communications of, say, Bluetooth or Wi-Fi, so the text messages can hop from phone to phone in a given radius, and the people in that area can actually communicate even if the government gang throws the switch and turns off the cell phone service.
You're basically crowdsourcing communication at that point.
Yeah, and there are a couple different programs out there that accomplish this. I was actually experimenting with them recently.
Oh, that's right. You downloaded an app or something. I don't remember what it was.
Yeah, I did.
You were playing around with.
There was one called Fire Chat that I played with a couple years ago, and when I recently re-downloaded that, I couldn't get it to load, so I don't know if it was probably something with my phone or whatever, but that was one of them. And then the other one is called Bridgeify. Bridge-F-Y, basically, is how you spell that. And the reason I was looking at those two specifically, because there's like 4 or 5 out there, but those were the only 2 that existed on both the iOS and Android platforms. And I figure if you don't have it on both, then you're wasting your time, because you wouldn't be able to communicate with everybody if you needed to. So, and this is something we can talk about, is some of the alternatives. We mentioned Library earlier, lbry.com, which is a video uploading service, or I guess media uploading. You can upload MP3, I think, to it as well.
Nice.
That is decentralized. It's blockchain-based. And so it is not.
I gotta go put all my music archives up there. My parody songs, my heavy metal band. I got work to do.
You totally should, because one of the other reasons you want to do that as a creator is you can get paid by other people. They have the library tokens that are kind of the blockchain cryptocurrency basis for the system, and you can set it to where people can pay for your content. Small, microtransactions,
like the micropayments, right?
Yeah, for your content, where you don't have to rely on some big mega corporation to cut you a little slice of whatever ad revenue they're getting from slathering ads all over your product.
Every now and again, I get a payment in my PayPal account or one of my other accounts from the bank. We never made any money, but I'll get, hey, you've got $1.25 from this
you can buy a pack
quarter
of gum
or something. Yeah,
The organization said the number of alerts received by the Council of Europe about harassment and violence directed toward journalists has almost doubled every year since 2015.
Wow.
When the Council's alert program was launched, so it's only been around for 4 years. In 2018, 99 journalists were killed, 21 more than in 2017. At the end of 2018, more than 250 journalists were in prison. Now, again, this is globally. And that was also up from the year before. And more than 10% of those were being held on false news charges. According to Article 19's analysis, the most alerts about harassment and violence came from Turkey, Russia, Ukraine, Azerbaijan, and France. And more than half of the alerts cited the state as the source of the threat. Well, duh.
I mean, right, yeah. To us, that's duh, but probably to our listeners,
maybe that's shocking.
Yeah.
The report also notes that 2018 saw a clear trend toward verbal abuse and public stigmatization of the media and individual journalists in many member states, including by elected officials and especially in the run-up to elections. And we've seen Trump lashing out against the media in the United States. Now, whether some of them deserve it or not is another question. And it's one thing to say things about the media. It's another thing to actually put them in a prison cell and threaten them, with violence. One of the biggest factors in the decline of free expression and the free press, according to Article 19, which is, again, the charity that did this research, is the rise of strongman politics in a number of countries characterized by old leaders clinging to power and new leaders coming to power by ignoring and altering a country's constitution, relying on networks of cronyism and corruption, and promoting a muscular form of majoritarian populism which excludes, polarizes, and silences, railing against the speed bumps of democratic institutions and limits on the exercise of power. I mean, it's their next sentence here says that sounds like a number of countries that we could name. And I would say it sounds like almost all of them.
Yeah, that just sounds like statism.
Yeah,
right?
that's a typical description of how government gangs work. Let's go to your calls and thoughts. You can ring up what you want here. Jerome is on the line with us in Charleston, South Carolina, listening to WTMA. Go ahead, Jerome.
Well, he's already done that when he fired Comey to shut down that investigation. But guess what? Other investigations have come up now, so he can't shut them down. All he can do is hide behind his toadies and the Senate to keep him out of being thrown out of office.
You're talking about Donald Trump.
That's right. Hey, I want to talk about how this story that came out by Mark Levin about how there were people from the Obama administration that spied on Trump. Well, his own hand-picked investigator by Barr found out no such evidence of that. So why won't they mention that? And now he's got this other little toady, Giuliani, running around Ukraine again trying to dig up more dirt, but he doesn't want anybody to come and testify in front of Congress about that. He's probably going to save him for the Senate too, huh? So all his little toadies can protect him.
Now, Captain Kick-Ass, why are you making that little ditty with
the whole
your mouth there?
The whole aim of politics is just to rile up all the people. Right, to get you looking left when they're actually moving right, and get you looking right when they're actually moving left.
Well, you're saying that Jerome is being distracted by Donald Trump?
I'm just saying that they're very effective at getting Jerome riled up.
This is true.
No,
Jerome,
I just want, let Giuliani go in front of Congress with all this new evidence.
Nothing's going to happen even if they let him.
Maybe they should just all go to prison. How about that?
Oh, that'd be a good start.
Thanks for the call tonight, Jerome. I
Jerome.
appreciate it. Actually, I'm not in favor of locking people up, even scummy politicians. I just want them to leave people alone. I'd be all right if they just stopped.
Yeah.
I'd be okay. You go your way, we'll go ours. Let's try freedom. More coming up. Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. local.bitcoin.com.
Have you ever wanted to work when you wanted to work instead of having to report to an office? Have you ever felt trapped by relationship rules like monogamy? I'm Caleb Jones, and I have taught hundreds of thousands of men how to create low-work, high-income businesses and how to date women under your terms. Come to our free webinar with a live Q&A with me so you can learn how to create location-independent income and date women the way you want. Go to alpha.freetalklive.com.
Free Talk Live is now on more than 200 radio stations nationwide. We've had more than 18 million podcast downloads, and we claim millions of listens a month. We're a multimedia ad venue with print, email, web, and terrestrial radio marketing platforms. We strive to have ad packages that cater to advertisers big and small. Contact me today at marketfreetalklive.com to see what we can do for you. Marketfreetalklive.com. If you're a local advertiser, contact this station. But if you can service a national audience, contact me, marketfreetalklive.com.
I want to tell you about my favorite cryptocurrency wallet, Edge Wallet, at edge.app. Edge is the wallet I use more than any other, and that was true long before Edge Wallet became a sponsor of Free Talk Live. Edge Wallet allows you to buy, sell, trade, and securely hold your cryptocurrencies, including Bitcoin, Ethereum, tokens, Monero, Ripple, Dash, Bitcoin Cash, and more. It's available for both Android and iOS, and you can download it via the Play or App Store or via Edge Wallet's website, edge.app. Secure your freedom with Edge Wallet.
Free Talk Live.
So you're just not a fan of the gays then?
Well, I would call it a perversion. I think it's one step towards bestiality.
I think Rich was locked up with a guy who was actually having sex with his dog.
That's right,
Like,
the dog effer.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean, dogs are property, and I
don't
have
think
sex
it-
with property all the time, right? So like I want to get your opinion on this, right? So if homosexuality is one step towards bestiality, and then I mean where does it stop? We're just I frequently have sex with a rubber vagina, right, that I bought on eBay, and I wonder if you think that is also like bad.
Where's that on the spectrum?
I would call that a perversion too, as well.
Okay, so I'm going to go to hell then.
So,
I wouldn't go that far.
Am I responsible for the degradation of human society in America, sir?
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it. Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
It is Free Talk Live, and this is the live Saturday edition of the program. We're here. We'll take your calls and thoughts. Talking about the crackdown on freedom of expression. Article 19, which is a UK charity, has done a study showing that it is at its lowest level, the freedom of expression that is, at its lowest level in the last decade. With you in the studio tonight, by the way, it's Ian.
And Peter Griffin. No, I'm just kidding. It's Captain Kickass.
Kickass is here. And HelpMeTakeBitcoin.com will assist you, if you're a business owner, in accepting cryptocurrency at your point of sale. Maybe you've got a physical location, a business where people come to you, or perhaps you go to your customer to provide a service or product to them. You can go to HelpMeTakeBitcoin.com, and within moments, and that's not an exaggeration, it is super fast to get started. You can start accepting Bitcoin, the original, the one that's actually about to celebrate its 10th birthday or 11th birthday coming up in a month, or Dash or Bitcoin Cash at your point of sale, and you don't have to pay any insane fees or any fees at all to accept cryptocurrency. So it's a totally different situation than, say, credit cards, where you got to put in a bunch of paperwork and go through an approval process, and it takes maybe days, if not weeks, to finally get it up and running, and you got to have special hardware. None of that is the case with cryptocurrency. You got a tablet, you're already halfway done. It is super easy. You can use any iOS or Android device or any old web browser. HelpMeTakeBitcoin.com. Go there, get started. They'll walk you right through the process. It's super easy, and it's free.
If you already have a tablet, you're most of the way there. Yeah.
HelpMeTakeBitcoin.com, or phone, tablet or phone, any kind of device at your point of sale. So let's continue here. More from CJR.org. This is the Columbia Journalism Review, looking at the status of freedom of speech, freedom of expression, journalism, and the ability to do it without being threatened, locked in a jail cell, or murdered by government goons, or any old goons, but generally it's government goons that are the real concern here.
But you're redundant, government goons.
Indeed. And I'm intending to be redundant in that case.
You can say that again.
I'm intending to be redundant in that case. One of the biggest factors, they say, is the strongman politics, which is promoting a muscular form of majoritarian populism, which excludes, polarizes, and silences, railing against the speed bumps of democratic institutions and limits on the exercise of power. Here are some more threats to freedom of expression. Unprecedented control, they say. In addition to the Article 19 overview, a new report prepared by a group of journalistic organizations, including the International Press Institute, the Committee to Protect Journalists, European Center for Press and Media Freedom, and Reporters Without Borders, says that in the past decade, the government in Hungary has, quote, systematically dismantled media independence, freedom, and pluralism, distorted the media market, and divided the journalistic community in the country, achieving a degree of media control unprecedented in an EU member state. The report notes that the construction of a pro-government media empire, quote, serves as a vast propaganda machine for the government of Prime Minister Viktor Orban, insulating large parts of the public from access to critical views and information. And if you're thinking, as I'm reading that, you're thinking, well, this is the United States. It's not like that here. You got to understand something. What we have here when you look at like Fox News and MSNBC or CNN, where people think that at a glance, it's like, oh, well, they are different. Fox is against MSNBC and CNN is against. Well, we already gave you an example earlier tonight of how ABC News had a reporter fired over at a competing so-called journalism company, CBS or whatever it was. Yep. So they're doing favors for one another behind the scenes, but also the fact is all these journalists are really doing, and I don't even know if using that term is fair to what these people do. They all are pro-state. Oh yeah. They all are in favor of, let's say, whatever war the government goons in the U.S. happen to be involved in. They just don't they're just sort of nibbling around the outside edges of, oh, well, there's this controversy over General such and such, or, oh, should this president be impeached or not? And look at this team over here, the Republicans, they're fighting this team over here, the Democrats, and they take sides on those really relatively insignificant in the scheme of things conflicts. I mean, you were just talking with Jerome a moment ago, our caller from Charleston, who's always, every call, he's always railing against Trump, as though we would be somehow better off if Mike Pence took office.
Or anybody, really.
Well, but that's what they want, right? They want Trump to be impeached. Yeah. Well, they're not going to impeach Pence at the same time. Right. No one's talking about that. So you lose Trump, you get Pence. Is that really an improvement?
Well, and we've seen these impeachments before. Nothing happens.
No, nothing will.
In my entire lifetime, I think there's been several impeachment attempts.
A couple.
And at least two.
Yeah.
This was probably the third in my lifetime, right. I think. I'm aging myself here, but that's okay. Nothing happened.
Yeah.
Nothing ever happens. Nothing ever happened. Nothing's going to happen.
Clinton still parades around. He's a former president, still gets treated like it, gets $100,000 speaking fees.
And, man, it roused me up.
It's frustrating. But again, these media people here in the U.S., they're not questioning anything that's actually important.
No, well, and these media companies, right, all of the big networks and anybody owned by all of the big networks, they have a department dedicated to receiving press releases from governments. Right, be it federal, state, city, whatever it is. And all they do is regurgitate whatever is sent to them. They don't take that information and investigate it and see if it's true. They just go, oh, the government said it to us, so let's just read it verbatim. And that's why you can see some folks who put together those videos of folks saying the exact same thing across all the networks for the exact same story. It's because all they're doing is regurgitating the press release that the government sent them instead of doing what they should do, which is investigating it to find out if there's any truth to it.
Well, that would be like work.
Yeah. It's too hard. I can just read this instead of doing any actual, thinking.
Well, yeah. I mean, rip and read is what they call it in the radio world, where they just rip from the Associated Press. Like they came from physically ripping a piece of paper off of the AP printer in the radio room, right? You'd go in, you'd grab a story, and you'd go on the air with it. And it's lazy, but I mean, look, we were talking off the air about the 80-20 rule.
That's true.
That 80% of the people are doing 20% of the work, and 20% of the people are doing 80% of the work. And that's true across the board. Yeah. And it's true of journalism as well. Let's go to the phones here. We got Mike. He's on the line in Detroit, watching us on YouTube. Go ahead, Mike.
Hi there.
Hey, you're on the air.
We just talk about why the fuck Trump.
Nope, we can't talk about that. You can't say that on the radio. And so, you're done.
You've been flushed.
Yeah. So
it's the 7 words that George Carlin lays out very well. If you don't know them, go ahead and Google George Carlin, 7 words. You can't say those on the radio, and there's a few other things. But definitely the dropping the F-bomb. No. Sorry, pal.
Sorry, buddy. Toll-free number 855-450-FREE. And I am sorry about that.
Yeah.
I do wish.
I wanted to hear what Mike had to say.
I don't know. I mean, it probably wasn't worth listening to, but there's a certain type of caller that watches us on YouTube and Twitch and whatever, and they just, I don't know if it's their goal or they're just that clueless. They either have a goal of trying to say the F word on the radio, or they just don't really have any idea that these are the rules. Because, I mean, does a 19-year-old actually listen to the radio? Do they know?
Do they know what radio
is? The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. When's the last time you saw a teenager holding a newspaper? There's more coming up here in moments. You can bring up whatever you want. Press freedom under attack. Freedom of expression as well.
And not to mention the shedding, I would vacuum the carpet 3 times a week with all night long, bouncing on the side of the bed, keeping me awake the whole entire night from all the scratching and chewing. It kind of makes you neurotic.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy?
Mounds and mounds of fur all over the place.
Come to Dinovite for help.
DINOVITE.com.
If you want the dog to be healthy, you got to feed it something healthy.
Dinovite is nutrition.
The omega-3 fatty acids.
Flaxseed, zinc, alfalfa.
Our vitamins and enzymes replace the nutrients cooked out of most commercial dog foods.
He gobbles it up. He's not up all night scratching. His shedding is minimal, and it is such a pleasure to have my calm, relaxed, non-shedding puppy back. And I have to thank Dinovite for that.
Don't let your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy.
Come to Dinovite for help.
859-428-1000.
859-428-1000. DINOVITE.com.
The political world is a maddening cesspool of corruption and lies. Nobody tells the truth. Nobody keeps campaign promises. Nobody obeys the Constitution. Nobody puts the people first. How can we ever escape this web of tyranny? Vote for nobody.
Hi, my name is Nobody. I'm running for governor of New Hampshire because nobody knows how to live your life better than you do, and nobody deserves that kind of power. I want to put you back in control of your money, your lifestyle, your work, your body, and your life. Nobody should rule you but you. New Hampshire convicts many people of so-called crimes that should never have been prosecuted. If elected, I will pardon every victimless crime in New Hampshire history. This includes drug, gambling, prostitution, gun, and driving offenses. Nobody should have a criminal record when they have not harmed anybody.
Wouldn't it be nice to have nobody telling you what to do? Learn more at electnobody.com. electnobody.com.
Free speech is protected on the internet, right? Not always. Government agencies try to limit free speech and commerce on the net. Luckily, when they do, the Institute for Justice is there to defend your First Amendment right to free speech. IJ helped set the first federal precedent for internet free speech in 1999. And ever since has worked to prevent unconstitutional roadblocks in cyberspace. Visit our website today at ij.org.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get 1 free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm. Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live, and you can bring up whatever you want here. The number, 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We have the Discord call-in line rooms over at discord.lrn.fm, so hop into one of those if you want to get on the air with us. It's Ian.
And Captain Kickass.
Plus, want to make sure you know about Alpha Male 2.0. Have you heard of Caleb Jones? He's the creator of Alpha Male 2.0, and Free Talk Live will be hosting a free live webinar with Caleb with Q&A on December 10th at 8 p.m. Eastern. You can register at alpha.freetalklive.com. Caleb has taught hundreds of thousands of men how to create location-independent income and date women under their terms. He asks questions like, what good is living in a free society if you don't live a free life? Have you ever wanted to work when you wanted to work instead of having to report to an office? Have you ever felt trapped by relationship rules like monogamy? To some, what Caleb teaches is controversial. However, he's not creating sound bites for shock value. He believes deeply in the Alpha 2.0 way of life, and he wants to help you be more than just a beta male, or even more than an alpha male. He wants to help you become an Alpha Male 2.0. You can attend the free live webinar Tuesday, December 10th. That's coming up at 8 p.m. Eastern. Register now at alpha.freetalklive.com. That's alpha.freetalklive.com. Let's go to the phones, to your calls and thoughts. We've been talking about freedom of expression at its lowest point, according to a study by a UK group called Article 19. Its lowest point globally in a decade. We talked to John in Delaware first up here, listening to WILM. Hello, John.
Yeah, hello, fellas. My verbs are punch, kick, run, and my pronouns are he, him, hoo, hoo, ha. How's everything going?
He, him, hoo, hoo, ha.
Welcome.
I think I'm going to write a song called He, Him, Hoo, Hoo, Ha.
I write songs all the time. I called you guys a couple weeks ago rapping the song, remember? Probably not.
I don't
You sound kind of familiar. Anyway, John, what were you calling about tonight?
Oh, I was going to call about the media and the fact that it's so obvious that the media, works for the Democrat Party, the DNC. I mean, I actually believe that it's possible that the DNC may work for the media, and the so-called deep state isn't in the government. They're in the media. I think the media thinks it rules this country, my brother.
Well, now, when you say the media, what do you mean?
Yeah.
I mean, aren't we the media? Like on Free Talk
No,
Live?
we're not. I'm talking about the press. I'm talking about the newspapers, the news channels, CNN, MSNBC.
Well,
Fox
I mean,
News.
you're saying the Fox News works for the DNC?
Not the DNC, Fox News. I'm not saying that. I'm saying I believe that the media believes that they control the narrative of our government. They don't think that we the people, control it, nor do they think that we're smart enough to control
Well,
it.
you and I definitely do not control the government. I mean, they're a criminal gang, a criminal enterprise.
Surprise! I know that just as well as you do. None of us do it. It's never been power to the people as far as I've lived, and I'm 41. Anyway, I just believe, this is my hypothesis, I believe that, these tycoons that own these gigantic news networks, Soros and all these other fellas, these people are the people that, it's a powerful thing to have the news and the media, to have all that control. If you remember the movie The Godfather, he told the guy, said, the most powerful thing you could have on your side is the media. The media is power. You write the narrative, you write the story, and people believe what they listen to on the news, and people believe what they read.
Yeah.
So I think the media has more power than our own government.
Well, I mean, they definitely have the power to influence, and that is an important, level of control. But I mean, they're not dropping bombs on anybody.
No, but certainly the power of propaganda does have a brainwashing effect.
It goes a far way. Sometimes you don't need ammunition, man. People can be verbal assassins, my brother.
But I don't know how much of it is actually like a conscious choice, as far as like media deciding to be a certain way or whatever, versus they were just educated by the government, gang schools, and so they believe truly in a lot of the things that they say.
Believe what the government tells you.
So I mean, it's
believe
really
what the government tells you.
Well, do you really believe that they believe what they're saying? They actually believe that our president is a racist?
I think some of them believe that, sure.
That Donald Trump was involved in Russian collusion? They actually believe that?
Yeah.
I really don't think so. These are intelligent people. It's a story they're throwing out there that they want.
Go back to any presidential election and listen to the promises that were made pre-election, and then see how many of them actually came true. And it will be a very, very revealing process.
Hey, John, thanks for the call tonight, man. I appreciate hearing from you. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. David is in New Mexico on Free Talk Live. Go ahead, David.
Yeah. Him with a hoo-ha sounds like the cop that arrested me or that wrote me up on charges for my attempt at media freedom.
Him hoo-ha? Was it
him with a hoo-ha? Yeah, Mary Grace, the 6-foot, 300-pound dude that goes by Mary Grace Barreras, who is the cop that wrote me up. And has a lower voice than I do.
Okay.
By the way, I don't think Julian Assange could get nailed for treason because he's not a citizen of the U.S., is he?
No, he's not, which is why it's all crazy.
I mean, like, they can just say things and then prosecute a guy and everybody go, oh, yeah, that seems okay.
Yeah, I don't know what they're going to charge him with. I believe the indictment against him is sealed. So, it's all speculation, I think, at this point as far as what exactly... Yeah. Last I heard, at least. Maybe there's been an update.
I've actually been in court lately. Had another hearing on these charges by the University of New Mexico radio station who's trying to put me in prison for 3 years.
This is because you called the radio station, which is as a university, which is publicly funded. You called them up. They were upset about something you said. They told you they didn't want you to call back. You called back, and they sicked the police on you. You've been charged criminally with harassment. And so what's the latest in this case?
So we had a hearing the other day, and because I've been bankrupted by this whole thing in New Mexico over my children, and they had to appoint me an attorney. And the attorney, I have a right to counsel and a right to effective counsel. And the attorney never even contacted me once during any of this process. I managed to chase him down once. And so I've been doing all kinds of calling of the courthouse myself to make arrangements for this and arrangements for that and arrangements for the other thing that I wouldn't have to do if the attorney was actually doing his job. So that's one issue. And I managed to get that. I appeared telephonically and got that objection on the record.
I was going to say,
idea is that I'm...
David, I think you have the right to counsel, but I don't think there's anywhere that says you have a right to effective counsel.
Or is that the case in New Mexico?
Actually, Captain Cuckass, there is an actual thing that if you are convicted of something, if you're convicted of something, there is a thing where you would file a petition after the fact, after your conviction and all that, and argue that you were denied effective counsel. Counsel must be effective. If they're not effective, then you can get a whole new trial.
And is that only in New Mexico, or is that elsewhere? Do you know?
No, that's a law thing. That's a due process thing throughout the whole United States. It's accepted that.
So, are you going to try to fire this attorney and get a different one?
Right now, I'm letting him. Maybe right now, what I'm doing is letting him hang himself by continuing to demonstrate that he's not living up to what the law requires him to do. So I'm giving him more rope right now. So if you're listening, John Reinhardt, that's what I'm doing. Is I'm.
All right, so there you go, David in New Mexico. Thanks for the call tonight.
I actually don't mind his insults because he's funny.
Sometimes.
I mean, yeah, sometimes he's not as funny as he thinks he is, but he's all right.
All right, thanks for the call, David. Appreciate it. There's more on the way here. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Whether you want to talk about freedom of expression on the downturn, lowest point in a decade, according to a study done by Article 19, a UK group looking at the planet, saying it's worse now than it has been in 10 years. Plus, you can bring up anything you want here on Free Talk Live.
Jake was in big trouble with the IRS. He owed how much?
$92,000.
Ouch. The IRS left no room for Jake to breathe.
They put a lien on my house, took all the money out of my bank account, took money out of my paychecks. So it was a nightmare.
He needed help fast.
I figured that all these companies were the same until I called Federal Tax Management. You could just tell they knew what they were talking about. Right then and there, I felt like I had some hope.
Stop the liens, levies, and garnishments fast and qualify for one of several special IRS programs that could reduce or even eliminate your tax debt. So, how'd it go for Jake?
They did what they said they would do. They came through for me. I ended up saving an unbelievable amount. I was so jazzed. I was extremely happy.
If you owe more than $10,000 in back taxes, take Jake's advice.
Give Federal Tax Management a phone call. If they help me, they can help anybody.
Call the Federal Tax Management Hotline now. 800-503-8625. 800-503-8625. 800-503-8625.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, the inventor of MyPillow. And like all of you out there, I had problems sleeping. Pillows would go flat. I would flip-flop all night long. I would wake up with a sore neck, maybe a headache, or feel like I needed a nap even though I slept 8 hours. When I invented MyPillow, I wanted it to where you could move the patented fill to give you the exact support you need as an individual, regardless of sleep position. MyPillow will get you into that deep REM sleep faster, and you will stay there longer. It's not about how much time we spend in bed, it's about how much of that quality sleep we get. I do all of my own manufacturing right here in the United States. I have a 10-year warranty. You can wash and dry MyPillow, and I give you a 60-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose. And here's my best offer ever. You can buy one of my pillows and get one absolutely free.
Go to MyPillow.com or call 800-870-0305 and use promo code GCN. That's MyPillow.com or 800-870-0305 with promo code GCN.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
George, you can go this way.
You can do that and you have to leave here. You cannot bring signs into the rally.
Walk with me.
Well, I'm comfortable here, actually.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Hey. Who do you think you are?
Excuse me.
There is no video and audio allowed in this office.
No, I have work today. This is...
You ain't gonna make it.
Wait now. Wait a minute.
Whoa. Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable!
Why are you running from me? Because you're scared me. What am I being detained for?
You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this?
Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM. Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. local.bitcoin.com.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Toll-free number tonight, 855-450-FREE. Coming up, Captain Kickass will be telling us about a town that has disbanded. And we'll tell you why and what happened. That's on the way. Our toll-free number, if you want to join us here, is 855-450-FREE. Like freedom, that's 855-450-3733. We have the Discord call-in line rooms. You can jump into any one of those. There's several options for you. Just the top 5 channels on our Discord server over at discord.lrn.fm. What is Discord? It is a way for you to interact with other Free Talk Live listeners any old time you want to. It's there around the clock. And there's some pretty entertaining stuff that you'll find in the Discord. It's free, by the way. Just go to discord.lrn.fm. I do recommend that you download the Discord app. It does help. It makes things a little nicer. They have a web version, but the app is pretty sweet.
I've never used the web version. I've only ever used the app.
The web version does pretty much what the app does, just in a web browser.
Yeah.
So it's a way you can kind of take it for a test drive without having to install an app if you want. But anyway, go to discord.lrn.fm to get into our server and enjoy chatting with our listeners there. Freedom's Phoenix is a liberty-oriented news aggregation site. If you want the newest and freshest stories and perspectives on current events from those who value liberty, then freedomsphoenix.com has it. Their daily dispatch is the best way to stay up to date on science, technology, historical findings, liberty news, government overspending, and the rise of the police state. Freedoms with an S, phoenix.com. That's freedomsphoenix.com. So, a few more thoughts here on freedom of expression. It's been the focus of the show here tonight. Of course, phones are open, so you can always bring up anything that you want. The story coming from CJR.org, which is the Columbia Journalism Review, looking at a UK-based charity, Article 19, that has released a report showing that freedom of expression globally is at its lowest point in a decade. We've seen a lot of erosion of online freedoms of expression, whether we're talking about, platforms that are large like YouTube, whether we're talking about government cracking down on various different, areas in real life or online, and not just the United States, but again, this is the entire planet. And they, in fact, said that the only areas of the planet where media and digital expression is not lower than they were a decade ago, as far as freedoms are concerned, is the Middle East and North Africa. So everywhere around the globe, for the most part, has seen a reduction in freedom of expression, and that's a huge problem. There's a couple more bullet points here that they are sharing that are maybe worth throwing out to you. They point out, careful what you wish for. Last week, comedian and actor Sacha Baron Cohen, who, by the way, I really enjoy the guy's work. I think he does a lot of really interesting stuff. Probably don't agree with him much politically.
Yeah, but he's still funny.
But, his characters... For those that don't know, this is the Borat guy. He's got a couple other characters. Ali G was what he started with a couple decades ago. Yeah. And what's the designer? He's got like the super flaming like fashion designer.
Oh, I don't know that one.
Bruno, I think was his name.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
And those were the 3 characters he started with. And then he did another show for Showtime, which lasted just a season within the last couple of years, where he just kind of did some undercover stuff in the United States as different characters. And that was a pretty entertaining program. But anyway, he gave an impassioned speech after receiving an award from the Anti-Defamation League, which was also published as an op-ed in the Washington Post, in which he railed against Facebook and YouTube and their reluctance to remove offensive content, including misinformation. So he's saying they're not going far enough.
As a comedian, he should be the first to understand how asinine that is and how backwards it is to his career.
Has he seen his own content?
Yeah, or any comedian's content. I mean, without, imagine, I don't know, probably guys he looked up to, Richard Pryor, Eddie Murray, those guys not being able to do their act.
That happened, right?
Yeah.
And so, I've seen his stuff. He's some of the most offensive content out there. He does things that are absolutely outrageous and hilarious.
It'd be like Doug Stanhope calling for, suppression of his own material.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure that he wants his material to stay up, but it's that hate speech. That hate speech has got to go. Even though he's not particularly kind to the people that he doesn't like politically or whatever in his skits. But as Verge writer Casey Newton pointed out in his Interface newsletter, the desire to have someone force these companies to remove hate speech or misinformation can backfire. To see how, we need to look no further than Singapore's new fake news law, which has already been used to force an opposition politician to modify a Facebook post to include his government's position on the topic he mentioned in the post, along with a large banner across the original saying false.
What?
Yeah, a fake news law has been put into place in Singapore, which can modify posts on social media after the fact. If some government goon decides that's fake news, then you have to go back in and make changes, and I presume if you don't, there's probably some sort of criminal penalty for it.
I'm sure.
So some scary stuff here. You know, the press against freedom of speech is loud. There's a lot of people. It's not just Sacha Baron Cohen. You've got these college students that have been, railing against freedom of speech. If Vincent were here, the guy that has hosted over the past couple of nights with us, he's a college student in Keene, New Hampshire. The college here is Keene State College, and they're working on a so-called free speech policy, which is anything but. Right now.
I mean, of course it is. If you have to have something called a free speech policy,
you got a problem.
You're getting anything but free speech.
Exactly. Just like free trade policies aren't really free trade.
Or what was the other thing the college is? The free speech zones, right?
Yep,
you can have free
right.
speech, but only in this specific 4 foot by 4 foot area or whatever it was.
Yeah, I remember they tried to put me. I was at some sort of event at Keene State. There was some politician coming there or whatever.
Yeah.
And we do some bird dogging from time to time here and give them a hard time. Whoever they are, I don't even remember which politician it was.
Little heckling, you say?
Yeah, and so they were like, "Oh, are you a protester? You can go over there." And and then they point over like way far away from whatever is going, where they actually had like a penned off zone for people with signs or whatever to stand in. And I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not going to do that. Oh my God, I'm not going there. What are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
And they didn't do anything about it. So a lot of this stuff is voluntary, even though you don't realize it, because if it sounds like an order and it's coming from a man with his hand on his gun or hovering over his gun, some uniformed thug, cop or whatever, then a lot of people are just going to do what they're told. Yep. Another example of this was the Manchester, New Hampshire airport. We went there to do a free speech outreach kind of thing where I think. Was it the time where the guy had the gun strapped to his back? There was one time where a dude went with a rifle strapped to his back,
open
carrying at the airport, which I thought was pretty ballsy.
Yeah.
And then there was another time where we did don't take our rights, or no, don't strip our rights, and it was Derek J. and Kelly Voluntarist who'd stripped down to their underwear and they were walking around handing out flyers. It was one of those two times, but anyway, I was there to document it. I had a video camera, and some agent comes up from the security division at the airport, and they're like, well, we've got an area for you. It's down here. He brought a map with him, and he's like pointing on the map, and we're like, well, no, we're not going to go there because we've got free speech, and we're going to go in and exercise it. Have a nice day. And your average person who doesn't understand really how to assert themselves,
they just like, oh gosh, sorry, I guess I'll go over there.
Right. And then there goes their free speech because nope. Guess where the free speech zone was? It was like right at the very front of where the cars start coming into the airport, where there's no foot traffic whatsoever.
It's in a dingy basement, 3 floors down,
behind the dumpster. That's the way it is, and you have to put your feet down. You have to say no. Otherwise, the people who want to suppress your rights will keep pushing. Yeah. They'll keep pushing as far as they possibly can, and it's up to the individual to stand up for themselves. The final point here from the story, Russian President Vladimir Putin has signed a law that will allow Russia to declare journalists and bloggers as, quote, foreign agents, unquote, a move that critics say will allow the Russian government to target critics of the administration. According to the new law, both Russian citizens and foreigners who work with media or distribute content and receive money from foreign organizations will be declared to be foreign agents. It's not clear who exactly will fall under the new definition, but some critics warn that journalists and their sources could be defined in this way, and potentially even people who share content on social media networks. Wow. More than 60 prominent journalists, writers, and activists urged the president not to sign the law in an open letter, but Putin decided to ignore their advice. But again, before you look at that and say, oh, well, that's Russia.
No, that's here because because the politicians have decided that some Russian guy made some memes and posted them on Facebook and thus affected the election. Right, but if I make a meme and post it on Facebook, it's just crazy Captain Kick-Ass posting a funny meme, right? So, like, what's the difference between us? Nothing. It's just what one,
Are
army
you getting
of
funding from the Russian government?
No, I'm getting funding from nobody, and I don't mean nobody, the co-host. I mean no one.
We got more on the way.
Funding me.
Coming up, we're going to get into your story here, Captain Kick-Ass, about a town government that has been disbanded.
The citizens, quote unquote, told them to GTFO.
I want to know how this is even possible. You'll tell us about it coming up in hour number 3. And, of course, you can join us. Our toll-free number, 855-450-FREE. And that's 855-450-3733. The live Saturday edition of Free Talk Live continues. Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. local.bitcoin.com.
Would it be nice to wake in the morning whenever you want and work whenever you feel like it? Date women under your terms instead of society's? Be a completely free man? I'm Caleb Jones, and I have taught hundreds of thousands of men how to create low-work, high-income businesses and how to date women under your terms. Come to our free webinar with a live Q&A with me so you can learn how to create location-independent income and date women the way you want. Go to alpha.freetalklive.com.
I'm crazy about My Magic Mud. This is the most important oral care product created this millennium, and I'm not kidding. We all have different opinions on politics and issues, but we all have mouths. And I want yours to be as clean as possible, with teeth as bright as they were meant to be. I will never be without My Magic Mud. It's a little surprising, but man, does it work. If you only listen to one thing I say ever, go to mymagicmud.com and get 20% off with code FTL. mymagicmud.com, code FTL.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for Liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,460, silver at $16.58, and Bitcoin is trading around $7,523. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at innoscale.net. In the news, an active-duty U.S. Marine was arrested for attempting to smuggle guns and ammunition into Haiti in order to train soldiers for an apparent military coup in hopes of eventually becoming president. According to federal prosecutors, Jacques-Yves Sebastien Duriceau, a military firearms instructor with the U.S. Marines, admitted to smuggling the guns into Haiti in order to, quote, teach marksmanship to the Haitian army, end quote, in order to, quote, defeat the thugs, end quote. An informant told investigators that his plans for the weapons were far more ambitious, saying that Duriceau was going to attempt to take control of the country and become president himself. The Mind Unleashed reports the informant, who was not identified in court documents, appears to be an accomplice who turned on Duriceau when the pair were caught flying into Haiti last month. Investigators say the informant was traveling with Duriceau and the weapons at the time of the arrest. The Liberty Beat is sponsored in part by Brave Botanicals. High-quality kratom and CBD at reasonable prices with excellent customer service. Brave Botanicals is activist-owned and mission-driven and believes so strongly in the power of kratom, they're giving it away for free. Just go to freeounceofkratom.com for a free ounce of kratom delivered to your door. Just pay shipping. That's freeounceofkratom.com. This is the latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Find us online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. Your news now continues. Homeless residents in Winnipeg are facing potentially months in the freezing cold after police in the capital of Canada's Manitoba province tore down a number of donated warming huts. The huts, which were built by students at Stonewall Collegiate and installed by Community Patrol Group, the Urban Knights, and Ladies Peace Patrol, were meant to offer much-needed shelter to unhoused veterans and other people experiencing homelessness in the area. Alina Beta, vice president of the community group, said the local organizers are crestfallen over the dismantling of the project. City officials accuse the groups of building the shelters on city property without seeking clearance or even notifying the city about the humanitarian project. Police claim they had no luck attempting to reach the community groups, whom they accuse of ignoring city regulations regarding water, sewers, and tiny homes. The Saudi student who shot and killed 3 people at a U.S. naval base in Florida hosted a dinner party the night before the attack where he and others watched videos of mass shootings, according to the Associated Press, citing a U.S. official. One of the 3 students at the dinner recorded the shooting outside the building at Naval Air Station Pensacola on Friday. According to the report, 2 other Saudi students watched from a car. 6 Saudi nationals were taken into custody for questioning near the Florida Naval Base, where an Air Force trainee, also from Saudi Arabia, opened fire Friday morning, killing 3 before a sheriff's deputy shot and killed him. According to the New York Times, 3 of the Saudis were filming the attack. It's unknown whether they were students at the base or whether they are connected to the gunman. The shooting spanned 2 floors in a classroom, according to Sheriff David Morgan. 2 deputies were shot in the ensuing gun battle and are expected to recover. The gunman used a locally bought Glock 45 9mm handgun with an extended magazine and was carrying between 4 and 6 more magazines. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from the Conscious Resistance Network, featuring videos, news reports, and articles from a spiritual anarchist perspective. Experience the Conscious Resistance at theconsciousresistance.com. How would you like to have your business featured on the Liberty Beat? You can. Just send an email to libertybeat@snls.news for details. This is the Liberty Beat, produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. The Liberty Beat is online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow, reporting for the Liberty Beat, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
Allison Fry and Peter Hartman are a long-term couple. They've been trying out an open relationship that frees them to emotionally burden and exhaust other people.
We're both grown-ups. We both trust each other. It just seemed like the right time to open ourselves up to meeting other people and barraging them with our crippling emotional neediness.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I still want to vent to Allison about all the anxieties I have at the office until she wishes I would just shut the up. But sometimes you just get the urge to sap the life out of a different woman for a change.
The flexible arrangement has allowed Fry and Hartman to participate in a variety of tiresome and psychologically draining one-off encounters with partners ranging from close acquaintances to total strangers.
Of course, there was a time when I couldn't imagine saddling anyone but Peter with my extensive emotional baggage and trust issues, but now that we've tried it...
The best part is, when we're back together, all we really want to do is drain the living out of each other.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live. You bring up whatever you want here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. Like freedom. That's
Freedom!
855-450-3733. Tonight in the studio with you, it's Ian.
And L. Captain Kickass.
And you can also join us on our Discord server, where you will sound way better if you call us on Discord than if you call on phone lines, which, you know, we're fine with you on the phone, but I like it when people sound better. So get on over to discord.lrn.fm. You can hop in there, and that also allows you to interact with other Free Talk Live listeners who are hanging out in there around the clock. So we're going to get into a story here, Captain Kickass, that you brought in just a moment. It's all about a town government that has actually been disbanded. I can't even believe what I'm hearing.
Little town in Ohio was like, hey, screw you, you're out.
This sounds too good to be true. We'll find out more about exactly what is happening there in just a moment. But again, the toll-free number, if you want to join us, 855-450-FREE, like freedom. In fact, we're going to go right to your phone calls and thoughts. We'll start out with Chuck. He says he's calling from somewhere in the U.S. and listening to us on YouTube. Chuck, you're on Free Talk Live.
Actually, I said Jet.
Oh, well, hello, Jet. They really got that one wrong. Oh. Welcome, Jet.
Yeah, well, I should probably spell it for him every time. But anyway, I called a couple of days ago to kind of support the concept that we should never use the term government in our language because of certain psychology. But I want to expound upon that.
Sure.
The idea here is that this thing we call government cannot exist without the element of fear. In other words, people who pay taxes, for example, most people do it out of fear of the repercussions. People who allow themselves to be subjected, let's say, to the blue light gang pulling them over, they do it out of fear.
Sure. Yeah, they're going to get run off the road and shot to death or something like that if they don't do it.
Yeah, every law is just words on a piece of paper with a gun hiding behind it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the trick there, that somehow in our minds we have to work on this fear that we have of these just other people who were yesterday our friends, neighbors, and relatives, now in these positions of titles with badges and all kinds of other things, creating fear over us. But here's what's really interesting. With the advent of the internet and moreover, the web, these governments, people calling themselves government, have been losing their grip. And this is why they have moved into things like black uniforms and dark tinted windows and armored vehicles to increase the level of intimidation and with a scare tactic.
Absolutely agree.
Yeah. Well, it also does disconnect them from the people that they're supposedly serving, which we all know that's not the case. But the further disconnected the police officers, for instance, are, the easier it is for them to be disconnected from their emotions or whatever level of humanity that they have inside of them. And it's also further disconnecting them, in reverse. The people aren't able to connect with them as far as you can't see their eyes if they've got dark sunglasses on. If they're driving around in these big armored vehicles, they don't have the same feel of, oh, there's my small town cop. He's my friend. He'll help me if I've got a problem. No, they're a military occupying force, and that's that is the message they're sending.
But this is why we have to get the message out that they're losing their grip. That's why they have to go to this level, that their only tactic for accomplishing anything that they do at all is by fear. So somehow, if we can help each other lose that fear, that's what's important. I mean, we all know the story of or maybe some of us have seen The Wizard of Oz, where they pull back the curtain and it's just this little guy making a lot of noise.
Yep.
Right.
Be Toto. Help pull back the curtain.
I think that's what we have done to some extent here in New Hampshire successfully, and that is getting people together who understand what the government gang is, that it is just a group of people who are using the threat of violence, usually strangers. You don't know, these aren't my friends. I didn't grow up with them. I don't know them. Using the threat of violence against peaceful people to get their way. And not only, getting the people together who understand that, but also having them express that publicly in ways of like being on the radio here on Free Talk Live, or say by making media like Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree, which couldn't have existed without the mentality that you're talking about of people who just want to live free and who are willing to put on display for the world to see what these government criminal gangsters are actually doing. Or as you say, the people calling themselves government, what they're doing to people.
I'll wrap it up with this. I can't remember who put out this quote. When the people fear the government, there is tyranny.
Yep.
And when the government fears the people, there is liberty. But we can change that to when the when the government, when the there is government, and when the government fears the people, there is liberty. In other
I
words,
think
take
we missed a
tyranny.
few words there. Can you try that one more time?
I was saying we can change it a little bit to say when the people, fear the government, there is government instead of tyranny. You see what I'm saying? When the government fears the people, there's liberty. That's all.
Thank you, Jet, for your call here tonight. I definitely appreciate hearing from you. And Jet has called before on a couple of occasions, and I always really appreciate his message. But,
He's spot on about the fear part, right? I mean, we have seen that. And yes, the militarization of the police forces is definitely intended to intimidate.
Well, and his other message that he always calls about, and it's always welcome. I mean, some calls are repetitive in a bad way, but he's always really welcome because it's really difficult to get it out of your head. This indoctrination that government, that there's some sort of legitimacy to it. And I think we know there's not.
Right.
We on Free Talk Live are aware that government is just a criminal enterprise. It's just the most successful criminal gang.
It's just the mafia on steroids.
Or as Harry Brown put it, who was the 1996 and 2000 presidential candidate for the Libertarian Party, government is the only criminal gang that flies flags in front of its offices. They're so successful at what they've done, which is to say indoctrination, because they run the schools, the schools that have 90% of the students, the government schools, inculcating people with the idea that government is legitimate. Hey, kids, it's your 4th grade assignment. You get to write a law. What is it that you think everyone should have to do? This actually happens.
That's where the phrase, there ought to be a law, right?
That's right.
Yeah, like people, I used to think that before I sort of, came out of the fog of statism, right? There should be a law against that, because like somehow I thought that making a law actually prevented a thing. It wasn't until I looked at the evidence about what laws do, how many there are, and the overwhelming evidence is like, it's a totally useless scam. And in fact, I would like to apologize to the mafia for making a metaphor about the government being, a mafia. I mean,
an insult to
it's
mafia,
an insult
right?
to the mafia, and I apologize.
So, one of the other things that Jet has pointed out frequently is that it's important to stop calling these people government because it transmits an unintended. I'm
trying real hard, Jet. I'm trying real hard.
Yeah.
It is so difficult.
And I like the people calling themselves. That's one of my favorites. I don't know if he came up with that or if it was Mark Stevens from Adventures in Legal Land, but I remember hearing about that one years ago. And I think it's not efficient as far as words are concerned, right? Yeah. And, on communications and broadcasts, it's good to be efficient with your words, but that's an important one too. I think it's worth adding the extra words to it. I've been using government goons just because it's a little bit shorter, but I honestly think people calling themselves government is better because with government goon, somebody hearing that could think, oh, well, they just think that person's bad in the government. Maybe they think that this other team is better or whatever. But when you say people calling themselves the government, it really takes down the wall of like, oh, yeah, that's really just a man under that robe. That's really just a man who, just got out of the bathroom a few moments ago before he came into the courtroom and sat down.
A guy on the social media a while ago had a nice phrase that always made me think that, yes, these are just individual people, and it was, everybody sleeps somewhere.
That's true. Or everybody S's somewhere. We can't say the other one on the air. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We got more coming up with your calls and thoughts here on the live Saturday edition. This is Free Talk Live.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dynavite for help.
Order a 90-day supply of Dynavite.
Dynavite is nutrition.
Pick up 2 bottles of Lico Chops, get the 3rd bottle free.
New improved Lico Chops with omega-3, omega-6, vitamin E.
And now, 6 extra direct-fed microbials.
Even better for the digestive tract and immune system.
Try Lico Chops. Buy 2, get 1 free.
At Dynavite.com.
Dynavite.com.
Anarchapulco is the world's foremost conference for voluntarist thinkers and activists, held in beautiful Acapulco, Mexico. Share ideas on how to live free and escape the clutches of the state. Their unparalleled lineup of speakers will discuss entrepreneurship, investments, politics, philosophy, health, sustainability, lifestyles, and personal relationships. Stay in a world-class resort and enjoy the sun and beaches. February the 13th through the 16th. Visit anarchapulco.com for early bird pricing and 10% off with coupon code FTL. The next generation wallet is coming from Divvy. In just a few taps, you'll be able to send, earn, spend, and exchange digital money in seconds. Send money around the globe with only a swipe. Instantly exchange between Divvy, Bitcoin, and fiat right in the mobile app and withdraw directly to your bank account. Divvy already offers the first one-tap solution for earning passive income with crypto. Multi-tiered masternodes allow everyone to partake in the network. Visit DivvyProject.org. DivvyProject.org.
What good is living in a free society if you don't live a free life? Being stuck in a job or being locked into a relationship, but you're not free to do what you want. I'm Caleb Jones, and I have taught hundreds of thousands of men how to create low-work, high-income businesses and how to date women under your terms. Come to our free webinar with a live Q&A with me so you can learn how to create location-independent income and date women the way you want. Go to alpha.freetalklive.com.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
There are basically two types of advertising, direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer-term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Join the LRN.FM Discord for live chat 24/7 at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
Hey, it's Free Talk Live, the live Saturday edition of the program. You're invited to join us here. The toll-free number, 855-450-FREE, like freedom. Coming up, we're going to talk about a town that has managed to abolish its people calling themselves government. Because we were just talking with Jet about calling governments not governments, but people, because that's all they are. Just people using violence and the threat of violence. And apparently, somehow, the government system was shut down in some town somewhere. You've got the story. We're going to get into it coming up. But also, I want to make sure that you know about ForkFest 2020. It's coming up next year in the summertime, June 29th through, or rather until July 5th. Of course, you can go whenever you want, but because everything about ForkFest is unofficial. There's not an organizer. There's nobody who's in charge except for each individual that is attending. So you're in charge of your own experience. What do you want to do? Do you want to just come to the campground and hang out with other liberty-minded folks? That's easy enough. There's camping. There's RV sites. There's even motel rooms there at Rogers Campground. There's no ticket cost because there's, again, no organization. There's nobody who's in charge. If somebody tries to sell you a ticket to ForkFest, they're trying to scam you because there's nobody who is running this thing. You go to forkfest.party. That is an unofficial website. It's just got some links to like the ForkFest Telegram chat room. There's a ForkFest forum there where you can interact with other people that are attending this event or who have attended the event in the past. 2020 is going to be year number 4 for ForkFest. And it is arguably, I think, going to be the biggest and the best year because...
Perfect time for me to go to my first one.
Your first one, yeah. Because this year was the third one, and this year was much bigger than the second year.
I got to think of something to do. I gotta bring something kick-ass and live up to my name.
You do music. I know that.
Yeah, I'm not sure how to do that at the thing, though.
Well, you get power. Most of the campsites and RV sites have power. Yeah. So you get power if you got an amplifier and you got a musical instrument, you got music. Or even if you don't have an amplifier, you can still do music. In fact, I think that's the one thing that we were missing. One of the things that was missing, because we talked about ForkFest after the fact this year, was like, well, we had a really cool dome tent where Derek and Steven from AnyPay were like, they were playing music.
Yeah.
They had like, Steven does DJ kind of work. But they weren't making music, they weren't performing music. I don't think there was anybody doing any live music performance this year at ForkFest.
Interesting.
So whatever you can bring to the table. Do you want to make a poker game for people to play? Do you want to have maybe a speech or a series of speeches that people give? There was the Alt Expo tent this year where people were giving speeches on various different subjects, from the technical to the obscure or whatever. So you decide what you want to bring to the table, or again, just come hang out. Go to forkfest.party, mark your calendar now for June 29th until July 5th at Rogers Campground, the beautiful White Mountains of New Hampshire. It's northern New Hampshire. It's incredibly just splendid views to be there. Just even if you're there by yourself or with your family on any old weekend of the year, it's just a beautiful place to be. But ForkFest is going to be especially good. It's going to come after the Porcupine Freedom Festival, which is the festival from which ForkFest forked off. The Porcupine Freedom Festival is a fine festival, but you got to pay to attend that one. At ForkFest, you don't have to. You just get your campsite or your RV site or your motel room and relax and hang out with other liberty-minded folks. And for the first time, ForkFest is going to include Independence Day, so there's going to be fireworks. Awesome. Forkfest.party. Go learn more about it there. As we continue, you can bring up whatever you want. Let's talk to James in New Jersey. You're on Free Talk Live.
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Hey, James, go ahead.
Okay. I just wanted to make a quick question real quick. Do you guys, about the Navy shooting that happened, I think it was on Friday in Florida, do you think the government is letting our Army men defend itself, or do you think, do you think they get police help or something, or do you think they're there just to protect themselves or something like that?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
I mean,
okay, so
go ahead. Yeah, rephrase.
Okay, so you know how the shooting happened, right, at the naval base?
I heard about that. Yeah.
Okay, do you think the government gets people over there, from the government, to help them, or do you think they just let the Army men stay there and defend themselves, or do you think they help them out?
As I understand it, the police were sent to that situation, and the police ended up taking out the shooter. That's what I heard last night when it was discussed on this show. And I don't know everything about military policy, but as I understand it, that on these military bases, the military members are not allowed to be armed in general.
Okay.
Except for the MPs, except for the military police.
Okay.
I mean, unless they're doing drills or something, right?
Right, unless they have to have drills for firefighters or fire drills or whatever. James, does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you so much.
Thanks for the call. Appreciate hearing from you. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. All right, so Captain Kickass, what is it that happened? In what town was it that the town government gang was somehow disbanded? This sounds unprecedented.
Yeah, this is from WND.com. I have no idea. I've never heard of this website before. But according to WCPO-TV in Cincinnati, the people of Amelia, Ohio, believing local tax policy and leadership had begun to verge on tyrannical in recent years, took drastic action last month to evade the excessive burden of Franklin's second unavoidable reality of life. Disgusted with cover-ups by town officials regarding the misuses of public funds, and infuriated by an income tax increase passed by the city council in an unannounced 2018 vote.
A city income tax?
in an unannounced vote.
And what was the town's name again? I'm sorry.
This is Amelia.
How do you spell that?
Amelia.
Oh, the woman's name.
Ohio.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
Amelia, Ohio.
I mean, I've heard of city income taxes in massive cities like New York City, but how many people live in Amelia, Ohio?
Well, residents banded together with a common goal to trim away layers of government waste. On November 5th, the people of Amelia did the unimaginable to make that happen, voting 843 to 479 to entirely dissolve the 117-year-old village and its government.
All right.
I know. I wish we had like
I
an
got
applause.
sound effects. I just didn't have them ready. But yeah, population in the town only 4,801 as of the 2010 census. So this is a small town with an income tax.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Just under 3 weeks later, the unincorporated community of less than 5,000 had officially dissolved, preparing to be absorbed into neighboring townships. A largely upper-middle-class town, according to the New York Times, somehow watching their taxes raised year after year despite the massive influx in population. The citizens were beginning to wonder where their money was going.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is a microcosm of the federal government, of your state government, of your county government. It's just easier to digest because it's in a much smaller viewpoint. But most recently, hundreds of thousands of dollars reportedly had been poured into renovating the town's government offices into a, quote, Victorian-style building with a lion door knocker, chandeliers on the ceiling, and a gazebo in the backyard. Unquote.
Sweet. It's good to be in the gang. We'll talk more about what happened here in Amelia, Ohio. They somehow, and I mean, was it like a ballot measure where they like signed some petitions and got a thing to?
It was a vote for sure.
Yeah, I wonder how they ended up pulling this off. It's fascinating. Unfortunately, they don't actually get anarchy. They have to get absorbed into the nearby town. So it's like from the frying pan into the fire probably. But no matter. We'll find out more about it coming up here. 855-450 free. That's 855-450-3733. You can take control of the airwaves here. This is Free Talk Live.
Balance of nature. Changing the world, one life at a time.
Scientific research has shown that many cancers and lifestyle diseases can be prevented with a diet rich in fruits and vegetables. This prevention comes from the phytochemicals in the plants. They fight against oxidants that damage the cell's DNA, causing mutations that lead to disease. In my lab, I've seen the immune response increase, I've seen your DNA repair capacity increase, and I've seen DNA protection. As a scientist, I know that balance of nature works.
Experience the Balance of Nature difference for yourself. Call or go online now and become a preferred customer, which gives you our best pricing and free shipping. And we will take an additional 35% off of your first order. This will be a limited time offer, so don't wait. Call 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go to balanceofnature.com and use discount code FTL.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com. What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveatpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveatpurse.com. LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
Live video of our key New Hampshire-based shows is streamed on DLive. Please follow and share at dlive.lrn.fm. That's dlive.lrn.fm.
Yep, it's Free Talk Live, and you can join us here on the radio. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. Allows you to join us here, talk about anything that you want. And with you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
And Captain Kickass.
By the way, I want to say thanks to betterplans.net. It's a place where you can go to actually get a real alternative to Obamacare. Obamacare, they claimed, was going to help you with affordable health care and give you choice. Turned into high-price insurance with little choice. The team at betterplans.net believed there was a better way to do health insurance, and they figured out how. You can call them up at 800-714-1802 to get a fast and free quote. And the truth is you can get affordable health care plans that cost hundreds of dollars less per month. But the first step is to become aware of how the wool is being pulled over your eyes. You can download their free ebook, Dirty Little Secrets, at betterplans.net. You can see their sample pricing for plans, every bit as good as the major providers' plans, for as little as $145 per month for a single, and even greater savings for families and businesses. You can gain access to educational videos and a free quote, plus your free ebook, Dirty Little Secrets, at betterplans.net. Obamacare's enrollment deadline is December 15th, so don't wait. Go to betterplans.net or call them at 800-714-1802. And so there's been a little controversy in our DLive chat room. We do stream, as we mentioned earlier tonight, on video streaming platforms, Twitch and DLive. We're also on YouTube, but there's just not as much to do there. DLive is a pretty great platform. It's kind of like a blockchain-oriented video streaming platform.
Love it.
And they've got their own like crypto token thing that they've put out there. But somebody was posting some very undesirable things in the chat room, just rambling on with racist claptrap. And I went ahead and muted that person from the chat room because, and of course, that resulted in somebody going, Free Talk Live, you got to let everybody say everything they want to say. And I said, our phones are wide open. If you want to say something that's despicable, you can call in and we will let you say it. Okay, as long as it's not the F word or the S word, or like there's a few words you can't say. But if you want to have a despicable idea and put that on the air, you can do that. And one of the things that's nice about this platform, this radio show, is we can respond to it. Mm-hmm. Whereas if somebody's just in a chat room just hammering away at the keyboard while we're on the air, we don't have the chance to sit there and respond to that. And if nobody else is in the chat room, and look, we're not the biggest channel on DLive, okay? I think we have 8 viewers tonight on DLive, and probably half of them are, on this guy's side, right? So, the best I can do is say, hey, call in. We'll talk about it there. And I said, well, you can also join our Discord server at discord.lrn.fm, where you can say what you want, because we have a special channel for troublemakers there. We have a special channel for undesirable, toxic people. And the response was, well, we joined your DLive and we got banned. Or not DLive, we joined your Discord and we got banned. I'm like, well, you probably joined back in the early days, because we've had our Discord now for almost 2 years. And in the beginning, yes, we were banning people who were coming in there and being racist. But then we figured out a better way to handle it. And because I don't want to shut people down with their speech, but what I don't want is for people to come into a chat room for the first time and see a bunch of just real ugliness.
Yeah.
I think that's unattractive.
Well, and also too, like, if you're doing this kind of stuff and, as we're not a public organization, right? So we do get to decide, what happens and what doesn't happen. Go ahead and compete with us if you'd like to say what you have to say. Start your own show, start your own stream, whatever it is. And
actually, I think one of these people has done his own show.
Well, then there you go. All right.
But I don't mind having discussions. I don't mind having conversations. And so I wanted to have our Discord server set up to where we didn't have to ban people who were being particularly ugly. So we created the Toxic User Zone, and a special user class for people who just are there to kind of, be ugly, essentially, and be unattractive as far as their ideas are concerned. We just put them in the toxic zone. We set their user class to toxic, and then they can only access that one channel, so they can't go and S all over the other channels in the server. They can have their horrible ideas, and they can have a place where other listeners can go in there and talk to them.
Absolutely.
And so the conversation is happening. All bans that were ever made on the server have been lifted. All right, I want to make it clear. And that happened earlier this year. I went through the ban list and I unbanned everybody that had ever been banned from the server, because now we have a better way of dealing with people who post undesirable things. But in the case of the DLive chat, there's no alternative. There's no other place that I can send somebody, right? Like, there's not another channel that you can go to. It's just, this is your chat room for your channel. And so if you're just going to get in there and be awful, then you'll just be muted there and invited kindly to our Discord server at discord.lrn.fm. All right, so Amelia, Ohio, town of about 4,800 people. They got sick and tired, or at least 2/3 of the voting population.
Sick up and fed. No, fed up and sick. Yeah, sick and fed up.
Of the government gang, the people calling themselves government there, and the just insane level of government waste.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars being poured into renovating the government offices instead of...
Which buddy of the city council got the construction contract too, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm sure. I mean, I don't know that for a fact, but...
somebody got the construction contract, and odds are good it was nepotism.
Quote, I would think every American would say, what am I getting? Unquote, said former council member Renee Gerber, who was arrested while protesting during a meeting last year. Quote,
interesting.
We don't want our hardworking dollars to be misspent, unquote. So here's a council member.
We don't want the Amelia government to misspend them, but now they'll be misspent by the surrounding governments.
A council member herself protested a meeting amongst these people.
Former
council. But they arrested her.
Yeah. It happens. I've been arrested at a city council meeting before for protesting.
Well, right. So Ed McCoy, a 53-year-old salesman and Amelia native, told the Times that there were just too many layers of government fat. The best way to get rid of that fat, he told the outlet, was to start at the bottom. Apparently, the residents of Amelia were schooled in the wisdom of the Declaration of Independence, a wisdom that suggests whenever any form of government becomes destructive, it's the obligation of the this is the quote.
The right of the people to alter or abolish it.
There we go. And to institute new government, which, I don't think is necessary, but whatever.
Sadly, that's what people still believe in. They still believe...
It's got to be replaced with something.
Well, they believe that they can get it right. They believe that, these city councilors, they're corrupt.
This form of cancer will be different.
We'll give this other group of city councilors the town. I'm looking at the map here for Amelia, Ohio, next door to towns called Hamlet, Lindale, and Withamsville, as well as Batavia. We'll give those groups of government goons the control over our lives, and that'll be better because they'll be better with our money, right?
Yeah, no, it never plays out that way.
Well, what I really am curious about is how did they do this? Like, from a political perspective, was it like some sort of town ballot measure where the townspeople could go collect signatures that said we want to abolish the town of Amelia? I'm just curious as to how.
Of course, this is poor journalism,
Yeah,
and
they don't know.
They just said. They did the
because you're not going to get a
unimaginable-
city councilor to put that forward, right? I mean, these are the corrupt people you're trying to get rid of. So what did they do?
They voted 843 to 479. That's all.
To abolish the town government.
Yeah, to entirely dissolve the 117-year-old.
Does the story say anything more about what happens next? Because I know it mentioned that the surrounding towns will be absorbing.
No,
the
it
town
gets
of
up on
Amelia?
its high horse a little bit more about like blah 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 blah, but no, it doesn't really give us any more facts than what we've already stated here. I just I see these things and they come across my feed and I breeze over them and I go, man, if only.
If only that could happen here, you mean?
Yeah. I mean, it's a good sign. I like it, right? Like more towns, more communities should look at this as an example of
absolutely.
what you can do. Are your property taxes too high? Is your city or your county, otherwise financially raping you, and the rest of your neighbors and your family for, crap that you don't want or don't need? Take a page.
Yeah.
Take a lesson.
I mean, it's not a bad thing. I'm not opposed to what they did, but it doesn't really solve the ultimate problem, which is to say, a group of people that gets to just steal money from you is going to be corrupt, no matter who they are. More coming up.
Most of you know that heart disease is the #1 silent killer in the U.S. What if I told you for just $54.95 a month you could fight against heart disease naturally? At Heart and Body Extract, we've been helping thousands of people get back to a healthier heart. Don't just take my word for it. Check out all of the success stories at hbextract.com, or to order, call 866-295-5305. That's 866-295-5305. hbextract.com. Don't risk it when you can take charge of it.
Have you checked your Google search results lately? Search results are usually the first impression that people form of you or your business, so make sure that they create a positive impression with Reputation Defender. What the internet says about you can have a big impact on your life and your livelihood, even if it's not true. Fortunately, you can now control how you look online and in online search results with Reputation Defender. Call 800-831-0771 now. That's 800-831-0771. For your free reputation analysis. If you have negative material from an ex-employee, upset patient, or former client, newspaper article, legal issue, social media, or other source showing up in your search results, you can combat it with Reputation Defender. Our dedicated experts in patented technology can help make your online search results look their best. Call 800-831-0771 to learn more. 800-831-0771. That's 800-831-0771.
This is Fred.
Hi, I'm Fred.
Fred's a repeater.
I tend to repeat.
Fred has a business.
I do have a business.
And a problem. Fred repeats the same tired advertising over and over, and now it doesn't work.
Over and over.
But Fred is about to see a vision.
I'm seeing a vision.
Advertising on the Genesis Communications Network is the smart way for Fred to reach his potential customers with the most affordable national advertising rates, period. Get started today with GCN, the Genesis Communications Network. Just email advertise@gcnlive.com.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air, and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Yep, it's Free Talk Live. Only a few moments remaining in this episode, but we got time for you if you want to jump on the phones right now. Our number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. It's 855-450-3733. I want to say thanks to John, who is a silver amplifier. And it's John with a J-O-N, by the way, just to differentiate him from the other Johns, who might also be amplifiers. He is contributing $5 a month to the Free Talk Live AMP program. You can do that, too, over at amp.freetalklive.com. If you appreciate the work that we do here, if you like the fact that we are talking about freedom on a 7-day-a-week basis on over 200 radio stations across the United States and beyond. We go all the way out to Guam, by the way. Up to Alaska and out to Guam, as a matter of fact. Even out to the Virgin Islands. So we go both directions outside of the U.S.
What about the non-Virgin Islands?
I don't know anything about them. But anyway, we are here, and if you appreciate the work that we're doing, please go to amp.freetalklive.com, amp.freetalklive.com. Sign up there with PayPal, with credit card, or with Bitcoin BTC, and you'll get some cool perks like John has done, and you'll help us spread the ideas of freedom as far and as wide as we possibly can. It's amp.freetalklive.com. So the town of Amelia, Ohio has apparently voted that, and when I say the town, I mean the people of that town. Because again, this is, with all these political words, things get mixed up, right? Like the word public, people think means everybody. But what it actually means in most contexts is government.
Yeah, same thing with national, right? National defense? No, it's government defense.
Government defense.
National security? Nope, government security.
Yeah, the government defense force isn't going to defend you.
With the exception of maybe like National Rent-A-Car, right? That's not government.
Yeah, that's a private company.
But yeah, whatever.
But the government defense, the military, they're not going to defend you.
Yeah. The national anthem? No, it's the government anthem.
They're going to defend themselves. They're going to defend the White House. They're going to defend government installations.
Yep.
If they could save the White House or some government installation from being bombed or attacked or whatever by rolling a tank through your home, they'd do it.
Yeah, it's very important to I try to, I try to use correct terminology as much as I can, and it's really difficult.
Yeah, it is.
And I'm kind of a wordy guy. I'm a vocabulary, I have a larger vocabulary than the average person.
Does that make you a sesquipedalian?
I don't know, but I do love a portmanteau. Right? And no, that's not a whine. It's when you take one word and another word, you mush them together, and people immediately know what the new word is. I introduced this to Discord a little earlier today. Techniculties. You immediately know what that word is, right? It's technical difficulties. Now it's just one word now. It's just techniculties.
So I learned sesquipedalian from Lionel, who was a talk show host for many years, one of my longtime favorites. And it is a lengthy word that means a person given to using long words.
I believe that is accurate because I did learn how to spell pneumono-ultramicroscopic silicovolcanoconiosis when I was in 8th grade. At the time, it was the longest word in Webster's dictionary.
Wow.
It's the shortened term for it is silicosis, and what it is black lung.
That doesn't sound like fun.
Right. It's a disease of inhaling quartz dust.
Yikes. Remind me never to be a quartz miner.
So what was your word?
Sesquipedalian, a person given to using long words.
Sesquipedalian.
So, 855-450-FREE. Let's talk about Trump and toilets. CNN reporting that Trump
let's talk about the royal throne.
and you know what? Well, let's just get into the story that we can comment on it. But he claimed that Americans are flushing their toilets 10 times, 15 times, as opposed to once.
It was the greatest flush.
And argued they are having difficulty with washing their hands in what appeared to be a tangent about low-flow sinks and toilets. Quote, "We have a situation where we're looking very strongly at sinks and showers and other elements of bathrooms where you turn the faucet on, and in areas where there's tremendous amounts of water, where water rushes out to sea because you could never handle it, and you don't get any water," the president said during a roundtable with small business leaders about deregulatory actions.
Wait. He said at a round table with regulatory
with small business leaders. Quote, "You turn on the faucet and you don't get any water. They take a shower and the water comes dripping out, just dripping out, very quietly dripping out." The president continued, lowering his voice as he spoke about the drips. Quote, "People are flushing toilets 10 times, 15 times, as opposed to once," unquote. It wasn't entirely clear what he was talking about, but it appeared to have to do with bathroom fixtures with low-flow appliances. He said the Environmental Protection Agency is looking into the issue on his suggestion, saying, quote, "They end up using more water, so the EPA is looking at that very strongly at my suggestion." Trump said, though he didn't give details on what suggestions.
To be a fly on the wall for that call.
Video of the president's comments have been viewed more than 1 million times online. And if I actually did show prep, I would have probably tried to pull it up because I'm sure he would have been more entertaining than my lame impression.
You did sound a little more like PC principal than Donald Trump.
Yeah. Trump, speaking in the Roosevelt Room of the White House amid an impeachment inquiry, then turned his attention to Americans attempting to wash their hands, saying, quote, "You go into a new building or a new house or a new home and they have standards, only you don't get water. You can't wash your hands practically, so there's so little water comes out of the faucet, and the end result is you just leave the faucet on and it takes you much longer to wash your hands," Trump said. Going on, he said further, quote, "There may be some areas where we'll go the other route, desert areas, but for the most part, you have many states where they have so much water, it comes down, it's called rain. They don't know what to do with it." So we're going to be looking at opening up to that, I believe, and we're looking at changing the standards very soon. So he's talking about the low flow toilets.
I mean, I'm very familiar with the difference between the low flow and the old school toilets, and I mean, I do prefer the old school ones because, well, they do flush better.
Yep.
Right. And if this is what he's getting at,
that's what he's getting at.
Then he and I might be in agreement on a thing for once, finally.
Yeah, and I think that he's right about this.
But like, why is he telling the EPA and having this discussion?
Well, it would be their regulation. So it would be the EPA's regulatory agency or their act or whatever that they could change the regulation on.
Wait. So you're telling me that the government regulates that the low flow toilets have to be in place?
You didn't know that?
No, I thought that was just like
that 1.6 gallon per flush or whatever. That's a government rule. That's been in place for like 2 or 3 decades.
I feel like Al Bundy, but like, man, that's lame.
Yeah. So that's actually what he's talking about here, and he's right about it. And what I think's brilliant about this, whether he's intending to be brilliant.
It's a load of crap is what it is.
Well, and what he's smart about here is that this is something everyone can relate to. Politics isn't particularly relatable in general, right? Like, people are busy, they have their lives. They're busy, they got to pay the bills, they got to take care of their family, they got to go to work, they got to do these things they got to do, and they don't care about what's going on in politics for the most part.
As the president, he should just wipe away the regulations.
But everybody takes a crap, right? Like, everybody goes to the bathroom.
I don't know about you. I leave one.
Right. Everybody goes to the bathroom. So this is an issue that everyone can relate to. And who hasn't had this? And who hasn't had this issue with toilets that are less than effective? Everybody's had this issue. The EPA, according to a spokesperson or spokesbureaucrat, is reviewing relevant federal programs. And look, I wouldn't get my hopes up that anything significant is going to change here. Going on, Trump, though, said further, touting his administration's decision to change energy standards on light bulbs, Trump also claimed energy-efficient bulbs don't, quote, make you look as good, unquote. Quote, being a vain person, that's really important to me. It gives you an orange look. I don't want an orange look, he said.
Orange man bad. Orange man bad.
That's just so funny.
It's the lights that make it. It's not the
That's what
fake
it is.
tan.
It's the lights.
Or the
It's the
horrible
energy-efficient
toupee.
lights.
It's the energy-efficient lights, of course.
Trump said on new car models, quote, frankly, they don't work very well. Right now, the cars are made out of paper mache, and ours are actually, we allow steel content, he said.
Oh, my God.
You know what?
There just should not be a chair, right? People of America and the world over, please just realize the problem is not having an election and putting people, into positions of power, whether or not you think they're competent or not. The problem is the chair itself.
Let's talk to Tim in Delaware. You're on Free Talk Live. Tim, you got like 20 seconds. We're almost done, but I wanted to get you in. Go ahead.
I'm the world's smartest genius in the whole entire world. I could spell a long word from the Webster Dictionary, but I don't know the fact that EPA regulates the toilet bowl.
Zing! Thanks for the call.
I am human.
Yeah. You know what? How would everybody know all of the regulations or even a fraction
There
of
are
them?
so many laws, regulations, and whatever.
Get reading.
That, it's impossible to be counted.
You can't.
Look it up. Google that.
You can't know it. You can't know
It's
any of the laws.
impossible to count how many there are.
You
It's been
can't know
tried.
them. They don't know them. They don't know their own laws.
No, they don't.
They don't read them when they pass them. But yet you're expected to obey them. Huh? Hey, check out Captain Kickass. Plug a website. What do you got?
Bandcamp, the kickassparodyproject.bandcamp.com.
You got to shorten that somehow.
Yeah, I know.
We're coming up
I'll
tomorrow.
figure
We'll
it
see you
out.
online in the meantime. freetalklive.com.
You ever feel like you're in jail, a virtual jail, because of your job or maybe your current relationship where you're not allowed to do what you really want? I'm Caleb Jones, and I've taught hundreds of thousands of men how to create low-work, high-income businesses and how to date women under your terms. Come to our free webinar with a live Q&A with me so you can learn how to create location-independent income and date women the way you want. Go to alpha.freetalklive.com.
Have you heard of LibertyCon? LibertyCon is not only a convention with great speakers like Whole Foods CEO and co-founder John Mackey and Nobel Prize winner Vernon Smith, but it's also unique because you get a chance to network with more than 70 pro-liberty organizations, one-on-one for the purpose of career advancement, business, and internship opportunities. April 3rd through 5th in Washington, D.C. You can learn more by visiting libertycon.com and use code FTL for a $10 discount on your registration. That's libertycon.com. Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you're helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com. Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
Questioning Authority is coming up next, live after the news on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for liberty news and activist updates. Produced in partnership with SNLS News and listeners like you. Online at libertybeat.news and snls.news. I'm Mick Murrow with your latest edition of the Liberty Beat. Gold is trading at $1,460. Silver at $16.58. And Bitcoin is trading around $7,523. Today's prices are brought to you by InnoScale. Take off with Managed Cloud. Looking for a safe, secure way to store your important files online? Let InnoScale handle it for you. Their high-availability cloud servers are the perfect solution for clients needing one or more secure, scalable servers with built-in hardware failover protection. For details, see them online at innoscale.net. In the news, an active-duty U.S. Marine was arrested for attempting to smuggle guns and ammunition into Haiti in order to train soldiers for an apparent military coup in hopes of eventually becoming president. According to federal prosecutors, Jacques-Yves Sebastien Duraceau, a military firearms instructor with the U.S. Marines, admitted to smuggling the guns into Haiti in order to, quote, teach marksmanship to the Haitian army, end quote, in order to, quote, defeat the thugs, end quote. An informant told investigators that his plans for the weapons were far more ambitious, saying that Duraceau was going to attempt to take control of the country and become president himself. The Mind Unleashed reports the informant, who was not identified in court documents, appears to be an accomplice who turned on Duraceau when the pair